Hello and welcome to the National Stadium. We're delighted to have you with us for the Tokyo 2020 Summer Paralympics. You join us for day 4 of track and field action, and a feast of more fine sport surely is coming our way. The raw passion and enthusiasm of the throwers will again be on display in our shot put and discus finals, and we'll again see if this lightning fast track will yield more records as the athletes tackle heats and finals from 100 to 400 and to 1500. And one of the things that's so impressive is that these performances are coming after a very disrupted and turbulent 18 months, if you think about it. Some athletes are arriving after very limited preparation in terms of competition, but perhaps that means they're even keener to get on the track and do what they do best. You can be confident they won't disappoint us today. It's the best show on earth at the moment.
Absolutely, and there's 3 track finals to look forward to in the morning session. In around an hour and a half's time, we've got the men's 100 meters T33. Ahmed Al-Matiri of Kuwait goes in that, the 3-time world champion and defending Paralympic champion, and a name that is synonymous with wheelchair racing. Wale Katila, the 2-time defending Paralympic champion, the 4-time world champion over 100 meters, goes in the men's 100 meters T34. But the first track final of the morning session is the women's 1500 meters T11 complete visual impairment category. Rodriguez Saavedra, the world champion, who goes in that from Mexico, who set a continental record in the heat, and the European champion Johanna Mazur also competing in that one in a field of 6. And there's an athlete who's already won a gold medal in a different discipline here at these Paralympics.
Yeah, Susanna Rodriguez had an impressive performance in the PTVI, the para triathlon, a sprint distance triathlon. That was just 2 days ago, and she dominated that event. Absolutely wonderful performance, and just looked very natural on the run. So it's not a surprise to see her in contention here.
Yeah, plenty to look forward to on this morning here on the 4th day of competition at the para-athletics here at these Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. The weather is going to be warm again. The action is going to be warm on the track as well.
Yeah, and we've got 45 nations, different nations who've received medals across the program so far. 23 different nations have registered a gold medal, and the overall medal count at these Paralympic Games, China might be dominating. The top 10 has got Great Britain second, then the US, Russian Paralympic Committee, Ukraine and Brazil with 10 gold each, then Azerbaijan, Australia, Italy and the Netherlands. They're your top 10 at the Games in terms of gold medals won. So another warm and hazy day. A few clouds around. 31 already as we come up to about 9:30 in the morning local time. 70% humidity, and oh, it's windy, 2 kilometres an hour. Look, it's been so still and so close, but the athletes don't seem to mind.
Well, especially on those shorter distances, we're seeing so many world records here in this stadium, and it just shows that these conditions are not an issue for the sprinters. The longer distance, maybe a little bit so, but this session, the longest we have is a 1500 metres, so hopefully it won't be too detrimental to those athletes.
Well, the men's discus throw F46 will be getting us underway along with the long jump T12 final shortly in the seated category, the F56 section. And there's been a load of field records as well. We talk about the track, but the field events have been nothing but stunning. Continental records, Paralympic records and world records as well.
We've had throwing events decided by a world record by a centimetre. Yesterday's shot put final was just an amazing affair as the world record was smashed and the world record needed to win it. Anyway, great passion and enthusiasm by the athletes, and great sporting spirit between them too, which everyone's enjoyed here, and I'm sure you have at home too. So another good session to look forward to. The men's long jump T12, the field of 10 will be underway in a couple of minutes. Athletes from Belarus, Cuba, Sweden, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Iran, Germany. So the long jump and discus will get underway fairly smartly, and then we'll be into some track action. Start the men's shot put. A couple of 100 finals. He's trying to de-perspire himself. Well, we know how he feels. It's that kind of day. The humidity in Tokyo was something that came as a surprise to me.
Well, if the Japanese are struggling in the heat, then the rest of us who've travelled to Tokyo, no wonder we're struggling.
There's a wonderful robot I've seen that comes around near our commentary area that gives you wet towels to freshen yourself up. I took advantage of one yesterday, and it was, well, I must say it was quite refreshing.
Does the robot go into the bathroom to wet the towel?
No, it speaks to you and you pick it up and away you go.
Yeah, but where did the towel come from in the first place?
It came from, yeah, it was perfectly packed. Whoever did it was brilliant.
All right. It's a hot day and we should have some hot competition. Matthias Schroeder owns the world record of 7:47 in the men's long jump T12. He's not in the field today, though. And here's Sevon Pineda is, though, the Cuban who's related to Felix Sevon, the great boxer.
Jumping at 4th in the World Championships, representing Belarus.
Serhei Burdaku from Belarus, the 33-year-old, was 5th in Rio with a jump of 6.98 and 5th in Beijing. 3rd at the World Championships 2017. Then he has Sevon Pineda, 32 years of age from Guantanamo. 8th in Rio, but he won the 100 and 200. Olaf Ryberg, 21-year-old from Gothenburg, has played goalball for Sweden, has a PB of 6.32. Now the next two men, Aliyev and Saliev from Azerbaijan and Uzbekistan, have won the last 3 world championships between them. Aliyev from Baku, and Donior Saliev from Tashkent. Those two guys were also 2nd and 3rd in Rio, separated by 1 centimetre. They know each other pretty well. Amir Kosravani picked up a gold in the Islamic Solidarity Games in Baku 2017. Azerbaijan with 2 athletes in this final. Najavzadeh with a personal best of 7:04.
Jumping at 8, the silver medalist at London
Tobias
2017
Jonsson, 25-year-old from Bolnas, 2nd at the 2017 Worlds, PB of 6.99. Angel Jimenez Gapeza won in Athens 2004 with a leap of 7 meters 15 and was 2nd in London.
And jumping at 10, 4th in this
Marcel
year's European
Botger
Championships,
of Germany
representing
from Witten. PB of 6.40 was 8th at the World Championships 2019. There's your field for the men's long jump.
3 rounds with the athletes jumping in that order, after which only the leading 8 will go forward to rounds 4, 5,
So it is
6.
Saliev of Uzbekistan with the career best of 7.44, who has the most impressive jump on record. And of course, these lads all know each other quite well. Wish each other the best before competition starts, and then it's serious business. It's on the far side of the track in the shade at this time of day, which they'll appreciate.
Well, they've already been out and experienced the warm-up, and then they would have left the track and come back in for that introduction. So, hence, if you're wondering why all their kit is there laid out already, that's because they've practiced their run-ups, they've got their markers out. Now it is straight into the competition.
So, Burdaku of Belarus. He's finished just out of the medals a couple of times. 5th in Rio and Beijing. Oh, that's a good opening leap from him. I'll explain in these vision-impaired long jumps that it's a larger takeoff area, and they measure from where the foot leaves that rectangle. That's a fair jump and a good one. Nice technique.
Yeah, well, he was towards the end of the chalk, so still plenty of space, though, to make sure he's inside that line. And you'll notice he got a lot of height on that jump, and he does actually compete in the high jump as well, so could be looking good.
Personal best of 7:11. Could have laid down a mark here. That was a nice jump for Roderick, and it's always good to get one away early.
Brings speed nicely behind the athletes at +1.0 meters per second.
6:74. Salon Pineda now. Freely admits that he's related to Felix Savon, who was the gold medalist in 92, 96 and 2000 in boxing, but Lenia, second to go in long jump. So in this particular type of long jump, there's not much point speculating with the measurement off to the side there how long it might be, because they actually have to come back to where they've taken off in the chalk. So although that looks around, I don't know, 6.2 meters or something.
It's very hard to tell, isn't it? You kind of forget that when you're looking at
the athletes
view we have.
When they've done a good jump.
They definitely will, and great speed on that run up, as we'd expect from Salon Pineda. The 100 and 200 is speciality.
Olaf Ryberg, ready to go. Personal best of 6:32. 8th at the European Championships this year. .674 for Berdikov. Ryberg on his way.
Not quite getting the height that we've seen from the first couple of athletes. It'll be interesting to see how it's translated into distance when we get the numbers.
And you're looking for a bit of a form guide. You look down through their career best jumps, and Olaf hasn't jumped further than 6:32, so it'd be a big expectation to think that he might get into the top 3. But he's here to do his best. We've seen a string of personal bests along with the world records and Paralympic records, and 6:15, so he's not far away from his PB with his first jump. And our
first of
track
3
final.
track finals in the morning session. Women's 1500 meters T11 complete visual impairment category. World and Paralympic records set in Rio 5 years ago by China's Zheng Jin. Well, it's warm out there. It'll be warm on the track over 1500 meters. 3 3/4 laps on a baking
Our first track event is the
morning in
women's
Tokyo.
T11 1500 meters final.
女子 1500m T11 決勝
T11 is a vision impairment category. Let's welcome
6
the
to go
6
in this
athletes and their guides into the stadium.
women's 1500 meters T11 final. The European champion with the world champion And we've also got an athlete who's claimed gold in a separate category altogether at these Paralympic Games, who we'll hear about in a moment or two's time. She's just off to the left of screen there. Susanna Rodriguez of Spain. Johanna Mazur, the European champion, who's already running the 400 meters here. Rodriguez Saavedra, the world champion, set a new continental record in her heat. And He Shanshan of China, a lifetime best in her heat, the 22-year-old, who's on the outside there. Took silver back in 2019 at the World Championships in Dubai. Complete visual impairment category means the athletes do run with a guide. Nancy Kresh of Kenya, who took silver in 2016 in Rio. Luzanne Kurtzia, who was disqualified in 2016 due to a guide error. We'll hope for much better this time. And the reigning world champion, Monica Rodriguez Saavedra of Mexico. Susanna Rodriguez has already won gold in the PTVI category in the para-triathlon. And Johanna Mazur of Poland, 8th in the 400 meters at these games already. She's the double European champion over 2018 and 21, and she won gold in 2017 in London. So they'll need silence before they head out. 6 to go. And away they go, in a really interesting start from the Chinese athlete who took silver back in 2019 in Dubai, He Shanshan. She set their lifetime best in the heat, and China, of course, have been up the top of the medal table the whole way through, but as she did in her heat, Luzanne Kurtzia of South Africa has moved out to the front and is looking to set the pace early on. And just two from the back there is Susanna Rodriguez, who's, of course, won a gold medal already at these Paralympic Games.
Well, she has had a packed schedule. It was a sprint distance triathlon, and she absolutely dominated that and won by almost 4 minutes. And it was hard to tell as she was backing off towards the end. I think such a competitor that she would find that hard to do, but I would imagine we might start to see the fatigue just setting in, but she's starting off at a very controlled, steady pace.
Well, when she finished in her heat, she was finishing in a flurry in the last 100 metres to get her through to qualify into the final, and she's at the back of the field at the moment. At the front, it's South Africa's Luzanne Kurtzia, who's looking very strong, as she did in her heat as well. But there's only around 10 metres with the whole field at the moment. 6 athletes. The European champion, Johanna Mazur, is in 4th position at the moment, just packed into the middle of the field. So it is a choice for the athletes as to which side their guide does run on. You'll see at the front there that Kurtzia has her guide who runs on her left-hand side. The right, as you look at the screen, many athletes decide to go on the inside of the track. The only difficulty could be there is if you have a slip and you do put a foot on the inside of the track, you would be disqualified. But moving out to the front now is the reigning world champion of Mexico, Rodriguez Saavedra, looking really strong out there. She will come around into the straight, and when they go across the line, they'll have 2 laps to go, and she's really made a decent enough move there.
Well, she has, but she doesn't look quite as relaxed as those athletes behind her. Yeah, there's a bit of a gap at the moment, but we're seeing these positions continually change as the athletes jostle for the inside track, and a little bit more important when you're running with a guide because you are a bit wider, so it's harder for the athletes to overtake. And we're starting to see a move up through the field now from Johanna Mazur, just settling into 3rd position and about to make another move.
Yeah, Mikhail Shavitsky, the guide, has just taken her around the outside slightly. You don't want to be too wide for too long because you'll be running a lot more of the circumference of the track. And just dropping off the back there is the lady who we mentioned earlier, Susanna Rodriguez, who won that para-triathlon gold a couple of days ago. But it's Saavedra who's out in front. And she leads by around 10 metres or so from Majur, who's in second place. And Nancy Kirsch of Kenya has just dropped off back into fourth position at the moment. And Luzanne Kurtzia, who'd set that early pace with the Chinese athlete Hei Shanshan, is currently in third position. But stretching out in front is Rodriguez Saavedra, looking very good, setting that continental record in the heat. And she comes round with around 500 metres to go in this women's 1500 metres T11 complete visual impairment category. She's stretched it out to around 15 metres at the present time.
Well, she is now starting to really look in control, isn't she? And it's a lot of work for the chasers to do. And I think we might end up seeing a bit of a battle for silver and bronze, as we're seeing a change again in between those two from South Africa and Poland, with the bell being rung and another kick coming from the front.
Well, Luzanne Kurtzi has gone past Johanna Majur and into the silver medal position, and she doesn't want to let that gap get too far in front. And it's all about that synchronicity of those athletes with their guides. Now, the guides have to make sure the athlete finishes first across the line. They have to stay tethered the whole time, and they have to make sure that they're not pulling the athlete along, because that would be disqualification. And Kurtzia at the moment is looking very strong indeed, trying to get up there towards first place. Rodriguez Saavedra.
It's going to be interesting to see if there's anything extra in the tank for Kurtzia, because I reckon once she gets onto the shoulder, if she can get up to Rodriguez Saavedra, then it's going to be interesting, because the Mexican might well have an extra kick if she's been in control of this race, and she would have kept more of an even pace. It's going to be really exciting final 100 metres.
Well, Kevin Aguilar Perez, the guide, has had a look over his shoulder. He thinks he's in a strong position, and he thinks Rodriguez Saavedra is in a strong position, and she is at that. She's around 20 metres out in front. She's going to take the gold medal to add to that World Championship gold she took 2 years ago in Dubai. And she heads across the line in a new world record time of 4:37.39. Luzanne Kurtzi takes the silver position, and it's Kesh of Kenya who picks up the bronze. But that was a wonderful run, especially the last 400 metres from the Mexican, Monica Olivia Rodriguez Saavedra. She adds Paralympic gold to her World Championship gold.
Well, that was a dominant performance, wasn't it? Going from the front and just controlling the race, not really letting the others have a look in there. And it's a great way to stay out of trouble in 1500 metres. We do sometimes see the odd athlete get clipped, and especially when you're running side by side, it's a little bit harder with those tactics. And the other athletes will have wasted energy as they've had to come in and out to go around the other two. And going from the front, tactic worked.
Well, she ran her first 2 laps in around 1:14. Her last lap time, 1:12.39. That's why she got the world record. That's why she's the Paralympic champion. Rodriguez Saavedra of Mexico with the world record, 4:37.40, takes the gold.
Looks like they're going to pop on a Mexican mask. We'll have a shot of that in a moment. But here, this is where she made that move. It was a decisive move, and they did not look back. Rodriguez Saavedra just striding past the rest of the athletes, and we thought that maybe they were going to be able to stay in touch. And then that final kick on the last lap just really didn't give any other athletes a shot.
Yeah, Kurtzia did her best. She was really strong early on, trying to take up the running, but just didn't have enough at the end. And she struggled across the line, but she picked up a silver, the South African. But it's all about the Mexican, who took up the sport back in 2010 in Zapotlan El Grande in Mexico, after she was invited to get involved in para-athletics because she wasn't as good at para-swimming. Well, she's pretty decent at para-athletics because she's got a new world record, and I always love it when they put on those Mexican masks. Good way to celebrate. Good track to win on. Great result. World record for Rodriguez Saavedra of Mexico. Well, you always look at the guide, don't you, as to how synchronized they are, and just look at that movement. It is absolutely picture perfect. He lets her go across the line, as the guide has to do. Congratulations all around with the South Africans and Kurtzia, who picked up the silver. And a well-run race. Great sportsmanship, sportswomanship. and wonderful to see the celebrations.
Well, look at the strength you see on Rodriguez Cerveda there. No wonder she was good in the pool. Could be another triathlete we see in the 1500 meters, you never know.
Well, Rodriguez Cerveda takes it in a world record, lifetime best for Kurtzia in the silver, and Kirsch of Kenya came home strongly to beat the European champion Mazur to bronze. Well, we stay on the track, men's 1500 metres now, the T11, same category, round one heat, complete visual impairment. World record set in London in 2012, and also the Paralympic record, of course. World champion Agrippino dos Santos goes in the second heat. The European champion Fedor Rudakov in this one, as is Yeltsin Yaks, the Pan-American champion, already won 5,000 metres gold here. Alexander Kozikovsky, who was the bronze medalist in the 2017 and 19 Worlds. Rudakov there, the European champion. Wadashinya, who took bronze in the 5,000 metres here already. Won silver at the Asian Para Games in 2018. Wilson Bailly, ninth in the 5,000 metres. He took fourth in this in Rio in 2016. And there he is, the man who's already won gold in the 5,000 metres here, Yeltsin Yaks, who's also the Pan-American Games champion from 2019. So this will be the first two that go through automatically, and the next two fastest across both heats will go through to the final.
Incredibly strong field in this heat. I think we could see some fast times just to get through the qualification.
So they're away, 5 go in this. The World and Paralympic record mark is 3:58.37. set by Kamani of Kenya back in London on the 3rd of September in 2012. And they've got off to a very fast start, and it's the man who took gold in the 5,000 metres here at these Paralympic Games in Tokyo, Yeltsin Yaks of Brazil, who kicks out first. And the European champion, Fedor Rudakov, disqualified in the 5,000 metres, so he'll be hoping for better in the shorter distance of the 1,500 metres. He's in second position, and Wilson Bailly of Kenya has just slipped around the outside and running a couple of lanes wide, has come up on the shoulder of Yeltsin Yaks. He won't want to get too far behind the Brazilian because he can kick towards the end. So at the moment, it's Kozikovsky who trails off to the left of the screen there, but it is Brazil in first, Kenya in second, and the Russian Paralympic Committee in third position, followed by the Japanese athlete who took bronze in the 5,000 metres, Wadashinya of the host nation. So Brazil out in front and looking pretty strong at the moment.
Oh gosh, they absolutely flew out of the start, didn't they? And Yaks obviously has a race plan and he wants to run it from the front. This is a heat he knows he needs to be the first two, and if they start to open up a bit of a gap, they can maybe relax towards the end, and he's not going to risk having to do a sprint finish in these heats. I mean, they've already, lots of these athletes competed in the 5K, so the fatigue levels are going to be high in this heat, and it's a matter of getting through comfortably, but without expending too much energy. And Bailly, we saw in the 5K really drop off the pace, and he did not have a good race. So it's going to be interesting to see if he's maybe chose once he was, it wasn't his day, that he reserved a bit, and what he's got when it comes to the shorter distance.
Well, the energy levels will be struggling somewhat after those ones who have done the 5,000 metres. 1:04.56, he ran the first lap in, did Yeltsin Yaks, so it was a reasonably quick first lap, and he still has the lead, and he's still around 5 to 10 metres out in front of the field at the moment. Is the man who won 5,000 metres gold, but Wilson Bailly still there in second place and looking pretty strong at the moment. Rudakov has just dropped somewhat back, and it's the Japanese athlete Wada who's come around the outside. So the second lap was run a little bit slower, as in 1:08.85, so a good 4 to 5 seconds slower than that opening lap where they really took out and got going very fast indeed. It's a race in 4 at the moment. It's Brazil in front through Yeltsin Yaks. In second place, it's the Japanese athlete Wada. Rudikov, the European champion, in third, just coming into shot, and at the back of that bunch there, Wilson Bae is somewhat dropped off, and it looks like he's struggling as they'll come down to take the bell. But Yeltsin Yarks and Wada of Japan is looking really strong.
Well, Wada of Japan now, as you say, that's just thinking about coming onto the shoulder, and maybe they're realizing they don't need to. They'll have a chance to glance up. The guides will actually keep an eye on the big screen to see what that gap is and what's happening behind them, because it is that much harder to make a move if you've got to come out and go around. And Wada maybe and his guide just deciding that they can sit behind Yaks for this. It's the first two that go through, and they're really now opening up a significant gap. So it's going to be a race for the other athletes on against the clock to see if they can get the quicker time than the following heat, and they won't know what that time is at this stage. That's the problem with being in the first heat.
Yeah, the first two that automatically qualify through to the final is Yeltsin Yarks of Brazil, who's out in front. Wada Shinwa, I think those two are pretty much guaranteed at the moment, unless Fedor Rudikov can do something, but he's around 20 metres or so away. You can see as he goes past that netting of the shot put and javelin area, and it is Wada who's in second place, but Yeltsin Yarks who took that gold, Wada with the bronze in the 5,000 metres. They're looking pretty solid at the moment, so Rudikov will be doing his best to get up there and be as quick as he can, because he'll want to be one of those qualifiers that goes through. It's a reasonably quick heat, this one, and Yeltsin Yarks is going to go across and take it across the line. 4:07.34. Wada of Japan takes the automatic qualification in second. Rudikov across shortly afterwards in third position, and Wilson Bae will come across in fourth. And way back in the background is Alexander Kozikovsky, who will take a few more seconds to go across the line, but a fairly standard run there for Yeltsin Yarks. He went out quick. The man who took gold over 5,000 as Kozikovsky goes across the line and really struggled there in that last part. He's called for a bit of attention, has his guy Krzysztof Wasilewski. But that man there is looking really strong for a double. Men's 1,500 metres T11, the winner of the opening heat. It's Yeltsin Yarks of Brazil.
Well, you can just see that at this stage, both athletes and their guides know that they had this under control, easing off over the line to take those two automatic qualification slots. And I think Yaks is still going to be running on a high after that gold in the 5K. We saw that he's got a kick. We know he's got the speed. We'll have to wait to see that fully unleashed when it comes to the final.
Well, the world champion goes in the next heat. Another Brazilian, Agrippina dos Santos. So we could have some final later on. Kozikovsky is getting back to his feet. It's really impressive and muggy conditions here at the Tokyo National Stadium.
Got a shot put going on, men's long jump T12, and Kamil Aliev. This was the first event to get underway this morning. Nicely in the middle of the takeoff area. And fair jump. Aliev. Personal best of 7:13.
A great use of his arms and his upper body in that jump. You really see the arms driving down the runway and then using that full swing. And that's a decent distance.
Interesting bit of ink on his left upper arm. Now, Doniyor Saliev. Athlete from Uzbekistan has put in a good one there. Looking for our first jump over 7 meters.
Really stretching. It looks as though he might have slightly lengthened his stride towards the end of that to make sure he reached on the correct takeoff leg.
But 6:90 for Saliev, that's a season best for him. There's a personal best of 7:44. Things warming up in the long jump.
Savon Pineda has the Crowd behind him there, the Cubans.
Chris, I'm pleased to say that the cars on duty retrieving the implements, those many...
This is the last heat in the
It's number 6 back in action, our favourite.
men's 1500 metres T11, won by Brazil and Yeltsin Yaks, who qualifies for the final along with Wada of Japan. Rudikov has the next best time of 4:11.88, so that'll be the time for those who don't finish in the top 2 in the next heat will have to beat. Second heat of the men's 1500 metres T11 contains the world champion Julio Cesar Agrippino dos Santos of Brazil. Christian Valenzuela, who was silver in 2013 and the 2015 World Championships, also goes. He disappointed in the 5,000 metres, having been the champion in London in 2012. But many of these athletes have run in that 5,000 metres already, so what will their legs be like? Karasawa Kenya of Japan, who was silver in that 5,000 metres, won bronze at the Asian Para Games in 2018. And on the inside, Julio Cesar Agrippino dos Santos, the reigning world champion, who was 7th over the 5,000 metre distance. So this is preferred distance. With 6 to go in the men's 1500 metres T11 complete visual impairment category, meaning everyone must run with a guide. If you're new to the sport and you're new to the categories, you'll see the guides are tethered to the athletes there by their hands. The athlete has to finish before the guide, and the guide can communicate with the athlete, but they can't help pull them around. So they've been asked to stand up, just waiting for a bit of silence. The T11 category being complete visual impairment, they just have to have silence on the line there, just so they're all fully aware of what's happening and can use their hearing sensors, which are, of course, much more attuned with this disability. So the two to look out for, if we go to former Agrippino dos Santos of Brazil on the inside, and two further across, the Japanese athlete Karasawa Kenya, as the starters are showing the green card. Nothing to worry about too much there. Looking to add Paralympic gold to the World Championship gold won 2 years ago. Away this time, and it is the two favourites who get out in front first of all. It's Karasawa of Japan, silver over the 5,000 metres, and the man who took gold just behind him there, the Brazilian Agrippino dos Santos. But for the Kenyans, Eric Kiptu Sang has jumped out ahead of both of them and thought, well, do you know what? I'm going to head out to the lead early on. I'm going to have a little look out in front and see if they come with me and what happens. But it's very warm, it's very humid, and there's no breeze to talk of whatsoever. And that's been the case throughout these Paralympic Games to date, is that there's been fantastic amount of records set. There's been no breeze to hinder any of the track or field athletes too much as far as headwinds or even tailwinds goes, which would help a little bit. But as they go across the line, it's Kenya through Sang who lead the way early on.
We're making a quick move just to get to the front in that comfortable position, and you'll notice here that the guide is on the outside, and as a result they're just keeping a safe distance away from that inside line. That is the risk of having your guide on the outside and running on the inside. You see some of the others opting the other way round, but obviously you've got the shorter line, but in a very comfortable position out in front, and a great place to be in these heats when it is the first two that will qualify. And you can see great tactics there from Karasawa. He knows what he needs to do, and he's just going to sit in there for the moment and go with his pace and be ready to make a move if any of the athletes come from behind.
Well, it is a heat, and that's quite appropriate because there is plenty of heat here at this Tokyo National Stadium. Sang still holds the lead on the inside, but the Japanese athlete Karasawa Kenya has moved around the outside. The 27-year-old has taken up the lead as they come around with 2 laps remaining. The first lap time they went across in a much slower time compared to the first one, 1:07.48 that was, so a little bit slower, but the pace has quickened somewhat now, although Guillen and Valenzuela are being left off the back. The man from Peru and Chile, the South Americans, have been left behind somewhat, so there's around 4 of them out in front at the moment who look like they're heading for those top 2 positions. And as I say that, of course, Valenzuela has decided to make a move because he's realised that he's much too far behind with around 600 metres remaining in this second heat of the men's 1500 metres T11 visual impairment category. But looking very strong out in front, it's Karasawa Kenya of Japan with a lifetime best of 4:07.72, so he's a good 9 seconds off that Paralympic record that was set back in 2012 in London. It stood for a little while, but he's looking really strong out in front as they come across, and he'll take the bell. And the man who won 5,000 metres gold is struggling somewhat, a little bit further back in 4th place at the moment, so looking really good out in front. But he's the man from Japan, Karasawa Kenya, as there's been a fall just out of our screen at the back there, and it is, I'm just trying to work out who it is there, but there's certainly been 2 athletes who have gone down there. It's the Kenyan who's gone, and it's the Brazilian as well, so it's Agrippino dos Santos, and also the man from Kenya, Sang, as well. So, well, that's changed things up somewhat, and it's made it very difficult out in front because there's only 2 there now. We know that 2 go through, and those ones at the moment are looking really strong indeed. And it's the man from Japan who's in front, Karasawa. Also in there, it's Castro Reyes of Ecuador as well, as they move around with 150 metres to go. And well, that's changed things somewhat, and he's looking rather strong at the moment, Karasawa Kenya. So those 2 are going to be the ones that go through. Valenzuela, who made a run earlier on, has probably left it a little bit too late, although you never know in these situations if athletes start to tighten up as they head towards the line. But at the moment, it looks like Castro Reyes in 2nd position, and is the Japanese athlete Karasawa who's going to go across and take the win in 4:13.32. Castro Reyes in 2nd, and Valenzuela has gone across in 3rd. So there was a fall there with around 400 metres to go that changed things up somewhat. Coming across the line now, Agrippino dos Santos, who'd looked very good early on, and Sang as well, but we'll have to see a replay of what happened there because it looked like they might have clipped each other's heels and gone down, and well, there may be a disqualification as well because the guy was around 15 metres away from the athlete there at one point. Regardless, they won't be going through to the final. That man will be, as will the Ecuadorian in front, Castro Reyes.
What a lot of drama in this second heat. Confirmation of the winner, Karasawa securing his place in the final, and the tactic of going out from the front was wise when we saw all this drama unfold. And there,
what's
just
happened?
a catch.
Agrippino dos Santos has actually, he's felt the athlete from Kenya, Sang, in front of him, and he's actually hit David Correa, the guide, and knocked him over as they both went over at the same time, and all 4 went down, but it didn't affect what happened out in front. Karasawa takes the win. Castro Reyes with the 2nd position go through automatically to the final. So disappointment at the back for the Brazilian and the Kenyan, but that's just a racing incident. Unfortunately, in the T11 visual impairment category, you just come up on someone, you get a bit too close, and you clip the heels, and all of a sudden, down you go.
It happens so fast, so easily, and even in visual, when there's no visual impairment, you see in the 1500 metres, the 800 metres, it happens. It's not uncommon. They're running at such speed and such long strides with a high kick at the back, and it's so easy just to clip the heels of the athlete in front.
Well, by my reckoning as well, Christian Valenzuela, who set a season best, should qualify along with Rudikov from the first heat.
Men's shot put F41 is underway. Field of 8 in this one. Omanov of Uzbekistan owns the world record of 14:31, and he's in the field. So too Capel, who has the Paralympic record set in Rio de Janeiro. So athletes from Côte d'Ivoire, China, Great Britain, Poland, Fiji, and the United States.
We've had one withdrawal, there will be 7 throwing. Throwing up 1, the reigning world champion and world record holder for Uzbekistan.
Omanov, 20 years old, won the 2019 World Championships, 14:03. Uzbekistan having quite a good games here at the track and field. Nico Capel won the 2017 Worlds and was a winner in Rio with a 13:57 throw.
9.92 personal best for the Ivory Coast.
Michel Ye from Côte d'Ivoire or Ivory Coast had his first international meet 2019.
Representing the People's Republic of China.
Sun Penchang,
Sun Penchang.
career best of 10:85, was 6th in Rio and 4th in London.
This year's European silver medalist for Great Britain.
Kyron Duke from South Wales, 2nd at the 2017 Worlds.
Throwing at 6, the Rio Paralympic silver medalist for Poland.
Bartosz Kozikovsky, 27-year-old from Poland, won World Championships 2013 and 15 and was 2nd in Rio.
Throwing last, the 4th placer at the last World Championships for the USA.
Hagen Landry from San Diego,
That's the lineup. They will each have 3 throws in that.
personal best of 13:63.
Competitors will have a reverse order throw for rounds 4, 5 and 6.
So the shot put F41 for athletes of shorter stature. Looks like the athlete from Fiji, Yosefa Rakesa, has opted out of the competition. He's got a DNS next to his name on our screen, so did not start. They've reduced it to a field of 7. And the lads try to keep cool, as you can see. We've got the world record holder and the Paralympic record holder, and they're 1st and 2nd in the rotation initially. At least being offered some shade there and some seating. It's hard to convey to you through just a picture how hot and humid it is and has been. Omanov set the world record 14:31 this year in Dubai. And he looks ready to go. So won the Asian Para Games with a distance of 12:31. He's capable of much more than that as he begins the competition for us. And that's well out past 12 metres, closer to 14.
690 is best, 721 the lead. At the moment, partway through round 3, the cuts for the leading aim will be made at 625. The 8th place athlete at the moment is right over Sweden.
So he's strapped up that right knee and then promptly unstrapped it. Perhaps he'll just put it back on when he needs to throw. And his opening heave was a pretty good one. And 13:21.
That's going to put a bit of pressure. Just great to have a solid throw on your first throw. Yes, they've got 5 more, but it's going to give the athletes confidence if they get a great score on the board, having the white flag, and it's something that the rest of the field will have to chase, and that's one of the advantages of going early.
German Para-Athlete of the Year, 2016 and 17, Nico Capel. Out of the hand, it looked like he might have been very close to the edge of the sector with his throw, but no, it's all good. Doesn't look as far as Omanov's throw. He dances across the ring quite elegantly and gives it the lot. Close to 13 metres. 12.95.
Well, these two, interestingly, their personal bests are just 1 centimetre separating them. So we'll expect to see them looking pretty close throughout the competition. As we head back to the long jump.
And Najafadze.
74.66 in time at 400 metres for the leader.
And the athlete from Azerbaijan. Had early good jumps from Aliev and Saliev. Two from Cuba, two from Azerbaijan in this field, and a 7-metre jump that had to come. Now Savon Pineda had a first jump of 6.92.
Strong opener by the Cuban. Can he build on that?
Doesn't he generate some pace on the runway? He is quick.
Certainly is. Converting that success he has over the 100 and 200 into the long jump. A much shorter warm-up, shorter run-up even. But using that speed to generate the height and distance required in long jump.
Got to convert that sort of horizontal speed into some lift at the right moment. And 6.82, a little shy of his first effort. Nevertheless, he's well in it. Now Donior, Kamil Aliev from Baku, Azerbaijan, silver medalist from Rio. 2015 world champion. No, oh, he's nearly stepped backwards there. That was a curious moment. It's all right though. He's going to give up some territory here. Just watch him step sideways and nearly backwards. Oh, that's all right. I'm not sure the coach would be thrilled with that idea.
No, I mean, drummed into them to always come out forwards, whatever you do. That's sort of basic rules of long jump. But it's easy, obviously, to get all disorientated on that landing.
Donior Saliev of Uzbekistan. That's the way to do it. No risk there with the landing, and he's quite pleased with the jump too, I think. Saliev, personal best of 7.44. So we're looking to get these athletes, as the competition progresses, out past 7 metres.
Look at that heavy strapping on the right knee. He is taking off on his left leg. Still, it's going to have an effect on that run-up for sure.
6.78. Kosravani. Foul with his first attempt. And from Islamic Republic of Iran. PB of 7.09. Oh, that's plenty. That's out there.
He gets the white flag.
Well, he's third at the 2018 Para-Asian Games with 7.01. PB of 7.09. He might have bettered that. He knew it was a good one. And 7:21 takes the lead and a personal best for Kosravani.
You said it was looking big, and it just everything came together. There was nothing to fault on the run up the takeoff and meeting the sand at the right part of his fold, which in the visually impaired category is part of the challenge. Timing that, you have no idea of the perception of where the ground is, so it is about muscle memory and having that technique so dialed in.
Victory ceremony for the women's Javelin F34. This is an event from a previous session.
Please welcome the medalists.
There's a field of 9 in this one, and it was a good result once more for China, joined on the podium by athletes from Germany and Finland. Mariana Heikkinen, Frances Herman, and our gold medalist Zhu Lijuan, who set a world record in this one. And she won it by the best part of 4.5 meters.
The Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
Tokyo Olympic Paralympic 競技大会組織委員会会長
Accompanied by
続きまして水島道則
Chairman of Taito City Council.
台東区議会議長
Bronze medalist representing Finland.
銅メダリストフィンランド
Mariana Heikkinen.
A very experienced competitor. Heikkinen was second in Rio, third in London, second at the Worlds 3 times. 2013, 17 and 19. And her best throw in this final, 17:47. Does have a PB of 20:79. Well, she's got a cupboard full of trophies and medals back home in Silanyavi. Continues to enjoy elite competition and do well.
Representing Germany.
銀メダリストドイツ
Frances Herman.
Frances Herman, the best throw in this was 17:72. Women's Javelin F34. The 32-year-old from Cockbus was third in Rio, so she's moved up a place. Was 5th in London. The event was ultimately dominated by Zhu Lijuan
Gold medalist and Paralympic
from
champion,
Zhushu,
representing
3-time world champion.
金メダリストおよびパラリンピックチャンピオン中華人民共和国
Won the javelin and shot put in Rio, on the Asian Para Games 2018, and set a new world record of 22:28. Well, equaled it, in fact. Equaled her own world record. Centimetre perfect, as we sometimes say in commentary, as it was for Zhu Lijuan. Stand by for the Chinese national
Ladies and
anthem.
gentlemen, the national anthem of People's Republic of China.
皆様中華人民共和国国歌の演奏です
「
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
皆様、パラリンピックメダリストです。
Well, some events have been close and some have been dominated by an individual. That was the case for Zhu in the javelin. 22:28, equaling her own world record. It was a season best for Frances Herman, but 17:72, she was well adrift, and Heikkinen 17:47. Nevertheless, gold, silver and bronze, China, Germany and Finland.
Second place in the shot with a new Paralympic record for Omanov. Here's his second put. Likes it, 13:40 was his opening put, 13:89.
Was to be another victory ceremony. We'll get back to that news as we look again at the track.
Karasara there, winning the second heat of the men's 1500 metres T11. Castro Reyes of Ecuador taking the automatic qualification position along with the Japanese athletes, so they go through to the final. Agrippino dos Santos disqualified after he went down. Yotsun Yaks and Wada Shimwa go through automatically.
Back to the long jump. Aliev. That one's fair. Still got Kosravani at the top of the standings from Iran. Aliev from Azerbaijan, silver medalist from Rio. A little more careful exiting the pit that time. And a 6:82, so his first effort still his best. Aliev followed by Saliev. And that's a good leap. Almost looks like he runs out of speed towards the end of his run-up. I think his run-up's almost too long.
Well, it's very much about listening to that rhythm, isn't it? That the assistant, the guide, is clapping them in, just cutting it short. And it's actually quite a good adjustment, because I think if he kept his stride, he would have overstepped and not had the white flag. It's amazing communication.
So we often see them shorten step if they think they've got the run-up just a little wrong. But I think he looked like he was running out of speed as he, in the last 5 metres to approach the board. But 6:92, what would I know? That's his best one so far. Kosravani, our leader, after his 7:21 personal best second round. Looks across to see some indication of what the length might be. Not quite as good as his PB in the previous round, but still out there. Only 2 men have reached 7 metres. Kosravani and Najafzadeh of Azerbaijan.
That previous jump by Kosravani only 10 centimetres off the Paralympic record.
7:01. So after a foul, he's got 2 leaps over 7 metres. So he's looking in good form. Now the other man who's reached 7 metres, Saeed Najafzadeh of Azerbaijan. Nice effort. It was his mother who got him interested in athletics. Perhaps she wanted to get him out of the house. Encouraged him to take up track and field, and he's never regretted it.
He looks at home on the run-up, doesn't he? And in this long jump, very established technique.
Can he better 7 metres? Not quite, 6.98.
That's consistent, isn't it? The no jump in the middle, but backing it up, showing that that 7 metres was by no means an unusual length of jump.
Back to shot put now. Kozikovsky, second in Rio, won the European Championships twice, 2018 and 21. World record holder Omanov is leading it at the moment. That one just out past 12 metres. He's got a personal best of 14.04.
Taking the lead in the men's discus F46, Kozikovsky of India, 14.84 in his second round attempt, has taken the lead from Uzbekistan of Azerbaijan.
Do you like the different coloured shoes?
Well, I was noticing that, and I must admit, I used to have a pair of cross-country spikes that were different coloured, and people always asked, why have I got 2 different shoes on? They were Adidas, so Nike have obviously followed in the footsteps there. But an unusual choice by the brand, not by the athlete, I think.
Hagen Landry. That's a good effort. Been studying human movement at Louisiana State.
There's a huge throw in the discus from Katunia. That's gone out over the 45-metre line.
So Landry.
In fact, it's a great
Distance to chase at the moment is 13.89. 13.40. Omanov, a leader and world record holder. That mark is 14.31.
That is big, isn't it? Very close to the 14-metre mark.
His great rival, Nico Capel, owns the Paralympic record of 13.57. Interesting technique here. Almost a double shuffle on the right foot. There's all sorts of ways to cook the meal with shot put and sliders and spinners, and there's the 13.89 for Omanov.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory zone F34.
Nico Capel from Gotzheim in Germany.
Please welcome the medalists.
The world and Paralympic champion, world champion 2017, and defending from Rio. How's it going to go today? These assistants in the field are so quick to be right where the mark is. Their anticipation, I've been enjoying the last couple of days. They really know where javelins and shot puts and discuses are going to land. They haven't got themselves in the way yet, which is nice to report. But look how close he is.
Yeah, it's quite brave, isn't it, I'd say. They are dedicated to their role.
13.29 for Nico. It's a neat improvement on his first round effort. There is no really good way to keep cool in these conditions. It's just hot and close.
We're ready for the men's T33 100 metres final.
Second track final of the morning. Men's 100 metres T33 final. The Paralympic record holder goes in this. He's also the 3-time world champion. We'll get to him
First in lane 3
in a moment or two's time.
Of 20.37 for Japan.
Japan's Yasuni Yuhei, who started racing 15 years ago, but this is his first major championship.
In lane 7, he was 4th in this year's European Championships.
Andrew Small of Great Britain has been a bronze medalist at the 2016 European Championships and 2017 Worlds. He also took bronze in this in Rio 2016.
Bronze medalist for Great Britain. 4レーン2019世界選手権銀メダル
Andrew
英
Small
国代表
of Great
Andrew
Britain.
Small.
Second of the Brits to go.
In lane 6, the world bronze medalist for
3 altogether.
2019 for Great Britain.
Harry Jenkins, one of them. Bronze in the world back in 2019. He won gold in 2018 in Berlin at the European Championships. This is Paralympic Games debut. And the 3-time world champion, the reigning Paralympic champion, and the Paralympic record holder, Ahmed Al-Matiri of Kuwait. Five starters in the men's 100 metres T33, the coordination impairment category in wheelchair racing. Al-Matiri's lifetime best at 16:46. Just under the Paralympic record he set in Rio 5 years ago. So Yasuno will go in 3. Small, one of 3 British athletes, will go in 4. Al-Matiri, the defending champion, in 5. Jenkins in 6. And Freeman in 7. So whichever way you look at it, Great Britain are guaranteed to get a medal, with 3 of them out of a field of 5. But there is the man to beat, Ahmed Al-Matiri of Kuwait. As the starter draws them forward. The men's 100 metres T33 final. And it is Small of Great Britain who gets away very quickly indeed. He got off to an absolute flyer, did the man who took silver at the last World Championships. And Al-Matiri is doing his best to make up ground, but it's Andrew Small who's going to take it. It may be a bit of an upset. Is he going to get there? Yes, he is. Small gets it. Al-Matiri with his 2nd position, and Harry Jenkins of Great Britain makes it a bronze for them as well. But that was a wonderful start by Andrew Small. He took bronze in 2016. He's upgraded that to gold in Tokyo 2020. 17.73 seconds the time. So outside the Paralympic and world records, but it doesn't matter. He's taken a gold for Great Britain in a quite stunning opening, and Al-Matiri, the now former champion, just shakes his head. Didn't get off to the start he wanted to, and he had too much work to do, and he left it late. He tried to catch up with Small. Jenkins picks up the bronze medal there in shot. He was a bronze medalist back in 2019. He's a former European champion as well, and his Paralympic Games debut. But this man playing gold for Great Britain, Andrew Small, 17.73 seconds, is the champion.
Well, it was all about the start, wasn't it, for Andrew Small? Absolutely shot off, and you can see there Al-Matiri struggling to get into that rhythm, and he now is gradually closing that gap. But Small, the finish line came just in time for the British athlete. Look how quickly Al-Matiri was closing. Another 10 metres and it could have been a very different story, but Andrew Small held off to take the win, and a strong finish as well for Jenkins coming through, holding comfortably for that bronze. And I think Small is just going to be over the moon with that performance. Al-Matiri, we saw have a glance at the camera showing his frustration. Not particularly fast times. There has been a slight breeze that just seemed to pick up for that race. We've seen so many world records or close to world records, and this event was more about a tactical look at the power going off the front line, the front wheel lifting several times for Small, and that just shows the power he was able to put through from the very moment the gun went. Al-Matiri is so strong in the second half, and I think we'll see in the 200, the longer distance races, that it could be a different result indeed. But Small did what he needed when it counted. A pure sprint race, the 100 meters.
Well, Andrew Small took up the sport after being inspired watching the London 2012 Paralympic Games as a spectator. Get to watch tickets to see David Weir and Hannah Cockcroft win their medals. They're both at these championships. He took up the sport back in 2016 in Grosseto at the Europeans. He's now the Paralympic champion. Almateri dethroned into silver medal, and Harry Jenkins makes it a British gold and bronze.
Verdikov. Go back to the long jump. Competition still being led by Kosravani of Iran. Verdikov a little down in the rankings at the moment. His opening jump of 6.74. He's just struggling to improve on that. Does look a little frustrated with how it's unfolding for him. He followed his first jump with a foul and pretty average third attempt. He's got to find something. Kamil Aliyev, best of 6.88 so far. That's a season best. That was his first. And from Baku, silver medalist from Rio. He's going to find another medal. He's got to find some more length here.
Body language as he sat in the pit. Obviously not got the measurement, but you can just see he doesn't feel like he's quite reaching his potential. His jumps.
Some days it's just not there, is it? He's not far off.
No, I mean, he's got it all dialed. There's nothing obvious that's going wrong, but just meeting the ground a little bit too soon, which I'm sure a lot of the long jumpers feel. It's just so hard to reach all to perfection in these visually impaired categories. Consistency, though.
Yeah, that's solid jumping. That 680 area. Now, Savon Pineda. He needs to find something as well after a very promising 692 and personal best to start with. Sitting just out of the medals. Fourth position.
I managed to get that one right in the air. It's not quite coming through. In unison, you'll know it's a little untidy.
That delicate equation of speed and height. He's got plenty of the first.
Just see him to rush, bringing that final leg back through, and as a result, not able to quite get his feet up high enough in front of him and to the ground just too early.
683.
Not far off his best. His opener was his strongest jump. Just not quite managed to build on that. And touching distance away from the medals at the moment.
The final track, final of the morning session, men's 100 meters T34. We'll see the world record and Paralympic record holder go, Walid Katila of Tunisia. This again a coordination impairment categories for the wheelchairs. Wang Yang of China, the Paralympic Games debut for this man. His senior debut came 2 years ago. Just 18. Ben Rowlings, best of bronze at the 2016 European Championships. He'll go in lane 9.
In lane 2 on Paralympic debut for United Arab Emirates.
Nowed, 18 years of age, his Paralympic Games debut. The man from the UAE.
Lane 8, the bronze medalist from Rio.
Henry Mani won bronze in Rio. He's also gold medalist in 2014, 16 and 2021 in the European Championships.
In lane 3, 7 times a global silver
Reid
medalist from
McCracken
Australia.
took silver back in Rio in 2016 behind Wally Katila. He's also won silver at the 2013, 17 and 19 World Championships.
Lane 7, the Asian champion for Thailand.
Choat Ratana, who was 4th in 2019, he won the Asian Para Games gold in 2018.
Lane 4,
And the final two to go. First up from the United Arab Emirates is Mohammed Al Mahdi, who was 4th in 2016. He's the Paralympic and World Champion over 800 metres. And last but certainly not least in a moment, it'll be Austin Smink of Canada, who was 6th in 2016 and 5th in 2019. And rounding it up is the man who's the double Paralympic champion. He took gold in 2012, he took gold in 2016. He is Tunisia's Wally Katila.
The men's 100 meters T34
Four-time
final.
world champion over 100 metres and also won world gold over 200, 400 and 800. Plus the Paralympic gold in 2012 over 200 metres. Wally Katila, if you talk about T34 wheelchair category racing, he's the man you think about. As you can tell by those flags just above the athletes there, there's relatively little breeze again at the Olympic Stadium here in Tokyo. "18 years of age, that man there. Wang Yang. Nowed of the UAE, also 18. Reid McCracken's been around a little bit longer. Mohammed Al Mahdi in lane 4. The champion Wally Katila in lane 5. Austin Smink of Canada will go in 6. Choat Ratana of Thailand in 7. Henry Mani of Finland, experienced, goes in 8. And Ben Rowlings of Great Britain will round up the field in lane 9. So the Paralympic record, 15.14 seconds. The world record, Katila set in Arbonne in Switzerland in 2019, 14.46 seconds. Well, as always, Katila pushes out really quickly indeed. On his inside, Al Hamadi got away okay as well, did Reid McCracken, but it's Wally Katila who's out in front. McCracken's trying to take him down, but McCracken's going to have to settle for silver because it is the man, Wally Katila, who's broken his own Paralympic record and set a new standard time for this. He is quite the champion. 15.01. He's taken 0.14 of a second off his previous mark. And he is Wally Katila, again, the Paralympic champion. No longer two-time defending champion, he's now won 3. Reid McCracken has to settle for silver again, as he did in Rio back in 2016. And Al Hamadi has picked up the bronze after claiming 4th in 2016. Season best for him. But a Paralympic record for that man there, 15.01 seconds. Breaks his mark that he set in Rio 5 years ago. He also has the world record. He's also the champion again.
Well, when you're competing against an athlete that is so dominant, it's got to be tough mentally, hasn't it? He just dominates from the start to the finish. I mean, that is the way to execute a perfect 100 meters, doesn't ever look in doubt. The rest of the field fighting for the silver and the bronze.
Well, if you look up Wally Katila, you'll find nothing but gold next to his name, except for a couple of silvers when he took 800 meter silver back in Rio in 2016 and 800 meter silver in 2019 in Dubai. But beside that, he's gold all the way. Quite some competitor. And that start he got off to was just incredible. It was brutal the way he got away, and within 10 or 15 metres he had Reid McCracken doing his best to chase him down, the Australian in lane 3, but he just couldn't get there. And if you give Wally Gatila 4 or 5 metres, well, he'll take a mile. And he did exactly that to burst away with the win in a new Paralympic record time. 36 years of age. Made his debut in 2004, and he now has a 3rd Paralympic gold medal and a new Paralympic record in the men's 100 metres T34. McCracken with a silver, Al Hamadi with the bronze.
Looking at Kyron Duke's preparations here in the shot put. F41. We've got the Paralympic and World Champions in this event, Omanov of Uzbekistan and Capel of Germany. Kyron Duke. The Welshman. The spin technique. Right on the 12-metre ribbon. So we know how far that's gone. 12:04. Hagen Landry of the United States sitting in 2nd position behind Omanov. Got a personal best of 13:63.
Hagen Landry in the circle, just been devoted to 2nd place in the shot with a new Paralympic record for Omanov. It's his 2nd place.
He nearly lost his balance there, but still managed a fair throw. He tumbled out the front of the ring. He's all right. It's out towards 14 metres. This could be a new career best. No wonder Landry likes it. And 13:73 it is by 10 centimetres. Here's our leader, Boyan Omanov, 2019 world champion. Out towards 14. His world record is 14:31.
13:66. It'll be the athlete in 3rd place next to throw, Nico Capel of Germany.
So this could be a new Paralympic record. It's 13:57 Capel, 13:89. He already owns that Paralympic record, in fact, with his 2nd attempt.
Throwing at 4, 2 times the world bronze medalist from Mexico.
Catch up again with Landry, who's compressing some of these throws as we bring you up to date with the competition. Landry, oh, he likes that one too. That's around 14 metres.
He's being consistent, isn't he? He's got that technique just dialed in, and it's all coming together today when it counts. He actually threw his personal best this year.
13:88.
Well, that is a new personal best.
That's
so he's
twice.
certainly thrown that this year.
Oh, good efforts. Now Capel, defending Paralympic champion. Nearly stepped out of the circle to the side there, but kept it under control. Capel. Anxious to see how this one's gone. Very hard to defend. any titles. His left foot was close to the edge of the circle there.
Kept the momentum of the spin to keep himself inside.
13.30.
Just going ahead of his last scoring throw by 1 centimetre.
Landry.
We're getting plenty of shots of Landry's a few throws, so I feel that we might see him really challenging for a medal.
And again, he's I think it's part of his technique, really. He gets so much forward power that he's got to be careful to pull it up on the edge of the circle. But he credits his grandfather and grandmother, who encouraged him to keep involved in the sport when he was getting a little disenchanted. His grandmother in particular paying for some of his trips and coaching, and he wants to get a medal for his grandma. And he just might do it too. He's in a good position to do so. No trouble displacing this man from the top of the standings though. Omanov. Close to 14. Reminding you, his world record is 14.31. Get to occasions like this, though, it's not necessarily about world records. It's about beating the other 7 guys for the last 3 throws.
Especially in the field events, it's about kind of not trying too hard and letting the technique do it, which is actually harder than it sounds, because you come to an occasion like the Paralympic Games, you know, once every 4 years, 5 years in this case, and suddenly you want to try harder, and that's when it goes wrong. So you've got to really believe in that process, and if you do have a frustrating throw, you can't come out on the next throw and try harder. You've actually almost got to just try to relax and go through the whole movement, the setup, the spin, the release.
Nice technique from Capel. Yes, the importance of the outcome gets in the way of the process, and then you're in trouble. Process, process, process.
Yes. Leaving it all out there.
I think his title from Rio is slipping through his fingers here. Omanov and Landry. Landry with a best of 13.88. And he's a little ahead of Capel. Looks safe in second spot. Can he take first? He doesn't think so. He lets out a second yell that was one more of disappointment than effort. They're hard on themselves, aren't they? If they really don't like it, they just step out of the circle so it doesn't get measured. But
yeah, there's certainly something around the respect of what numbers you have against your name in the history books. He's been fairly consistent, but so the peak was in that middle throw for Landry.
Omanov once more. So there are sliders and spinners in shot put, and there's all sorts of ways that they show us those 2 different techniques. He's got a little hop across the circle. It's very effective.
It certainly is. And he is enjoying the moment and excited with his performances that he's executing.
13.77. Still his 13.89 second throw holding up nicely for Omanov.
Well, from the celebration, you might have thought it was further, but maybe he even felt it was further, or he's just in the zone.
Go back to the long jump competition, which is the first event to get underway. Saliev, Uzbekistan.
We're ready for the men's T33 100 meters final.
One of his better ones, perhaps. Well, he's taken a handful of sand and thrown it back in the pit tossed the toys out of the cot. He's still not happy, Saliev. He's just been sitting out of medal position.
First in lane 3, with a best of 20.37 for Japan.
Not lacking for effort. Yeah, good old chat to himself. 6.92 is best with his third.
Well, that was a season's best, so maybe he really felt like it was going to come together and maybe even stretch for a personal best, but one jump remaining for him.
Javzadeh. Javzadeh, fair jump. Opened up with 7 meters, then a foul, 6.98.
Still plenty of feedback coming from the coach. Points to work on.
Good hang time.
Looked tidy, didn't it?
Nice lift from the takeoff.
Well, from our point of view, it looked good. The coach had a bit more to say, didn't he?
Always
And
seeking
still does.
perfection, yeah. 7.03, so it is his best so far. And he's in the silver medal position. Beg your pardon, bronze position. Kosravani.
He's the defending Olympic champion and the fastest in the field, but it is Andrew Small who's gone out quickest.
At a 7.21 with his second leap.
Jenkins in third. Small, and here comes the defending champion on the charge to the line.
Might have just shortened up on that second last stride. Don't want to criticise the man who's jumped 7.21 though, and a personal best to him in that second round. What's it to be?
There we go.
6.92, so at the moment he doesn't need to better that 7.21. Aliev to go again. Season best, he's jumped 6.89.
Down the runway.
And the scales of justice, do you think he's got inked on that left shoulder? I'm just having a look here to make sure they got the right spot or that it was legal. So the judge is having a look at this one.
The chalk has got slightly splayed from the athletes jumping over it, so the line is actually slightly in front of the furthest mark of chalk, if that makes sense. So obviously with the athletes running down it, it's hard to keep the chalk line really clear.
Someone didn't bring the brush and tray. I mean, you should just be taking care of that. There is that 6.89 I alluded to. And it was a fair jump. Savon Pineda. Likes to get what crowd there is behind him. Look how quick he is. Can he get some height?
We saw what looked like an adjustment in his stride halfway down the runway there. It doesn't seem to have affected his jump because there's some celebrations, and no wonder. Look at the size of that.
7.01. And a personal best for Savon Pineda. Saliev. It's quite a battle going on here for second, third, fourth and fifth.
It does seem that it's a 7-meter mark that the real sort of guarantee almost at the moment of a medal. That's what all the athletes will be aiming for, to get as close to 7 and ideally as close to the 7.21 set by Kosravani in that second jump.
And a 6.81. It's a model of consistency, but it's just short of where he needs to be to get on the podium. Kosravani, man from Iran, in the gold medal position, and even his rivals giving him a bit of encouragement. Lovely to see. What's he take from that? Not sure it's an improvement on that great second round leap.
He's going to be feeling confident, isn't he, with 7.21. We've not seen anyone demonstrate anything close to that at this stage. Only one athlete, sorry, two jumpers getting past the 7-meter mark. He's got a comfortable margin. But that said, we can see some real shocks sometimes on the final jump when athletes leave it all out there and just say, right, it doesn't matter, I'm going to risk it. I'm just going to give absolutely everything. In long jump, visually impaired and not so, you can see changes come through.
Back to look at the shot put, and Nico Capel.
Got some big numbers to chase, hasn't he, that have been set by his competitors. Coming in as defending champion.
I think he knows that's it, and he's done his best. Now, 5 years is a long time in sport, and some other people have made some progress to overtake him, including Omanov, whose world record was set this year in February. And the 13.08, going to have to be content with bronze to go with his Rio gold. Hagen Landry, final attempt. He's already set a personal best.
Come on!
It's an emotional throw, well, most of them are, to be fair. And Landry, he's been chasing Omanov all day. His 13.88 in the third round was outstanding.
Well, even that, he didn't quite take the lead. He sat 1 centimetre behind Omanov.
He's come up with a 25 centimetre improvement on a career best with that 13.88, and it will be second for Landry. And the throw without pressure for Omanov. Doesn't matter how this one lands. Might free him up. Let's see. Nothing to lose. Oh, yes. We've got one out past 14 metres finally, I think. And an exclamation mark at the end of the competition offered by Omanov.
Well, we did just say you can see special things on the final jumps, the final throws. And when the pressure is off, when Omanov knew he was guaranteed the Paralympic gold medal, and that's just what it means to him.
Put him in the high jump after that leap. 14.06, a new Paralympic record, and he secures the gold. Bobyan Omanov of Uzbekistan. Great competition with Landry and Capel. And great respect between these throwers, which I'm sure at home you're enjoying seeing. We certainly are. The spirit of these games, can't question it. Well, they run into each other a lot. They get on well. They respect the sacrifices they all make to be at this level. So it's Omanov, the Paralympic record of 14.06, a personal best for Hagen Landry, and the medal that his grandmother will be so proud of. And Nico Capel, the bronze.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the men's high jump T47.
Well, we saw quite a high jump competition in the evening session. yesterday. And it was quite a show. Well, almost a one-man show. Roderick Townsend, a giant of the sport in more ways than one. And those two men standing together because we have joint silver.
The medals will be presented by
Nishad Kumar and Dallas Wise of India and the United States couldn't be split.
President of the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
東京オリンピック・パラリンピック競技大会組織委員会会長
Accompanied by
続きまして山本大斗
Mayor of Chuo City.
中央区長
So it's unusual that the countback couldn't split two high jumpers, but that was the case for Kumar
Silver
and
medalist
Wise.
representing India.
銀メダリストインド
Nishad Kumar.
21-year-old from India, third at the 2019 Worlds. And he jumped 2 meters. But they both jumped 2:06, Kumar and Wise. Dallas Wise out of South Carolina.
Silver medalist representing United States of America.
銀メダリスト
Dallas says he was bullied at school because of his
Dallas
impairment.
Wise.
He said he felt worthless until he took up sport and he found his way. Something tells you they might be best friends for life, those two, after sharing the stage here in Tokyo. A bit of confusion there because they're joint silver medalists about how to do that little process, but it's all worked out fine. Well, it turns out that the US get gold and silver. This man, Roderick Townsend, won the high jump and the long jump in Rio. And coming in, the world record was 2:14. Well, he didn't bother to jump until 2:02, and half the field had already disappeared. He cleared 2:02, 2:06, 2:09, and 2:12 without a failure. Then 2:15 to beat his own world record by a centimetre. Had a couple of goes at 2:18, and that was enough. But my goodness, what a dominant man in this event. His wife Tanita, also a high-level jumper. He's got the look, he's got the gold, he's got the title.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of United States of America.
皆様アメリカ合衆国国歌の演奏です
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
Roderick Townsend had pre-prepared with some almost arrogant expectation that he'd win the event. He had a belt made that looked like a World Championship boxing or wrestling belt, pulled it out of his kit bag after he'd won it and then put it on and said, this is what it's all about. Well, he knew he was the best in the field. You've still got to deliver it on the day. And he broke his own world record. It was kind of amusing, but that he'd already worked it out. And he was going to celebrate in style. He certainly did. And had to wait a little while for the victory ceremony. And now the process is complete.
And we do have two very long throwers at either end of the
He nearly gave the game away a couple of years ago. But moved himself from Arizona to Kentucky and was happy about that. Back to Savon Pineda and the long jump. Already got a 7:01 PB.
Well, the coach is delighted with that. It's long. It's hard to tell when you've got such a margin of the takeoff area, so we'll get a bit more of an idea when we see how far back he took off. We have the guidelines superimposed for us on the screen. That doesn't tell the full story.
Oh, he's definitely got better height off the board, hasn't he? He's got plenty of speed, and this time height to go with it. And he's an emotional man. He's just left 7:16, another personal best by another 15 centimetres. Oh, what a day.
That is absolutely huge. No wonder his coach was jumping up and down. They could see more than we could up here, but what an incredible performance to bring out the bag at the end of the competition.
His teammate Jimenez Cabeza over to celebrate with him.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the women's...
Victory ceremony for the women's 1500 metres T11 category. Complete visual impairment.
Please welcome the medalists.
This one won by the reigning world champion, who's now the Paralympic champion, Monica Olivia Rodriguez Saavedra, who not only won gold, she broke the world record that has stood for 5 years, and it was also the Paralympic record. Set back in Rio in 2016.
The medals will be presented by President of the Tokyo Organizing Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
So the dignitaries being introduced to the crowd.
Accompanied
Those
by
lucky enough to be here.
Mayor of Chuo City. Bronze medalist representing Kenya. Nancy Chelangat
Koech of Kenya picking up the bronze medal in a season best time of 4:45.58. She won silver in 2016. She has bronze at Tokyo 2020. Also took bronze in the World Championships a couple of years ago. It's always wonderful to see as well that the guide is presented with a medal as well, and quite rightly so, it wasn't always the case. They do plenty of work for the athlete. Goes unnoticed a lot of the time. wonderful to see that it's being recognised in such a manner.
Silver medalist representing South Africa.
銀メダリスト南アフリカ
Luzanne Coetzee.
Well, Luzanne Coetzee took the race out at the beginning. She was disqualified in 2016 due to a guide error, but this time she's come away with a medal of the silver variety. Just missed out in 2017 in Doha at the Worlds on picking up a medal. She's finally got her hands on one. After all that work. And she set a new African record as well. Lovely medals these, the indentations, the braille on them, the flowers given out with the guide to Tokyo 2020 as well. Wonderful keepsakes to go with those medals. Very Japanese style to the medals, as you can see, just stretching out from the middle with those wonderful indentations and pattern designs.
Representing Mexico.
So the lady from Guadalajara in Mexico, 32 years of age,
Monica Olivia Rodriguez
has now added a gold medal at the Paralympics to her gold World Championship medal. She was named the 2013 Distinguished Woman of Zapotlan in Mexico, where she's from. I suspect she may be getting something a little more this time. She was 5th in the last Paralympic Games. That's been turned into gold at these ones. Her guide, Kevin Aguilar Perez and Monica Rodriguez Cervera. Enjoy the plaudits, enjoy the gold, and in a moment or two's time, they'll enjoy the tones of the national anthem of Mexico.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Mexico.
皆様メキシコ国歌の演奏です
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
皆様パラリンピックメダリストです
So gold for Mexico, silver for South Africa, and bronze goes to Kenya. Third gold medal of the Games for the Mexicans. No silver as yet, but 5 bronze to go with it as well.
Back to the long jump. Najazadze, get his name out, Najazadze. of Azerbaijan. Trying to lock in a bronze medal. It's come under a bit of pressure from Saliev. At a 7:03 in the 4th round. And might just have to be happy with that. He's had a fairly consistent day. Fouled in the 2nd round, but he's up between 690 and 7 meters most of the competition. Najasadze. 691 and 3rd place.
Women's 100 meters T11 complete visual impairment category. This is the first of 4 heats to go, and there are 2 runners going in this one. Libby Clegg of Great Britain holds the Paralympic record. She won't be competing in the 100 at these championships. She'll be going over 200 and the 4x1 universal relay, which we have to look forward to later in the meet. Luku Quing will go in lane 5. She's already taken gold over 400 meters at these championships. Giolena Moko, who was 9th over 400 meters here, has been competing since 2015, a lifetime best of 13.53 seconds. In lane 5. Gold already here. She took bronze in this in Rio in 2016. She's also won gold in the World Championships in 2015 in this, and silver in 2019, and is the Asian champion at this distance. The world champion, Brazil's Arusa Gabriel dos Santos, will go in the final heat, who holds the world record time. Just the first to qualify. In this heat there are 2. In the next there are 4. There are 4 in heat 3. And there will be 3 to go in heat 4. So a little bit of time taken for the athletes to get themselves set, the guides get them into position. The tether is then set between the 2, as you can see there. Must be maintained for the complete race, whether it be over 100 meters or whether it be over 5,000 meters. 11:96, the lifetime best of Luku Quing. 13:53 for Moko. So just the winner to go through in this, and Luku Quing has got out really quickly indeed. Moko is doing her best to catch her. Luku Quing looking very solid at the moment. There's a couple of meters between them. It is Lu who will go across and take the win in a time of 12.80 seconds. So the winner of the 400 meters has seen herself through to the 100 meters final. She'll try to do the double. Very solid run. Looked really calm and went through very easily. Wouldn't blow a candle out after that. Looks really strong as the mask goes on, as is the necessity here. But that start there from Lu was really good.
It was, and sadly not a strong start from Giuliana Moko. A little bit of a wobble off the blocks and a strong finish though, but the damage had been done and Lu could cruise the second half of that 100. You can see backing off over the line. Plenty more in the tank for the Chinese athlete.
Well, it was a season best for Lu. It was a lifetime best for Moko, so you can't ask much more than that. She's still a chance of going through to the final. Lu definitely qualifies though, and Moko will now have to wait on other results over the next 3 heats.
4 athletes above 60 meters now as we're halfway through round 2.
Back to the long jump. Kosravani who's been leading the competition most of the day. He put the finishing touches to it. Again, that slightly shortened last stride seems to be his technique, and it seems to have got the job done for him. At a 7:21 PB with his second attempt, and although they started to close in on it towards the end with a 7:16 from Salon Pineda, he's seen them off. At a gold medal at the Islamic Solidarity Games in Baku, came in with a PB of 7:09, and that's 7:21. Well, that was the difference. It was Pineda at a 7:16. So had not Kosravani advanced his own best, he wouldn't have taken the gold today.
Interesting to see all three medalists exceeding the 7-meter mark. 7:03, Javadste.
So Kosravani, the personal best of 7:21. Savon Pineda likewise with a 7:16, and Najazadeh 7:03. Iran, Cuba, and Azerbaijan, your medalists in the men's long jump.
Well, the Cubans are in attendance. They'll see someone great later on in the evening session as well. Mara Durand. Women's 100 metres T11, the second heat of 4, set to go on the track. This one sees the silver medalist over 400 metres at these championships. Thalita Vittoria Simplicio da Silva will go in lane 3.
Here goes Batista Santos in the discus. Third attempt.
4 to go in this one.
Well short of 45 metre lines. That would be an improvement.
Cape Verde, Brazil, Venezuela, Madagascar. They're all represented. Just the final preparations now taking place on a sultry morning again in Tokyo.
You can see the athletes rehearsing the start with their guide, so we could see the guide just helping to line up Paravavi. She was just getting that instruction of which direction is exactly in front, and then going through the motions, and the start being so crucial in 100 metres.
I know you've done a couple of bits with pretending to be in the visual impairment category. How difficult is it?
I mean, it's very hard to describe, and obviously as an able-bodied person, you're never going to be able to put yourself in that situation, but the trust that you have to have in your guide is just incredible. And you know, the responsibility that the guide has in these situations, when it comes to the start, especially in a sprint event, there's no time to make up for any mistakes. You can't correct something that might have gone wrong at the start.
Well, Pereira Semedo of Cape Verde, her first major championships at 32 years of age, will go in lane 1. Silver medalist over 400 metres, Thalita Vittoria Simplicio da Silva. She was the silver medalist at the Parapan American Games in 2019 at this distance as well. Linda Patricia Perez Lopez, she was 4th in the 400 metres. Her twin sister Alejandra Paula also competing here in Tokyo. And Aurelie Faravavi of Madagascar will go in lane 7, 27 years of age. Her first major championships, a lifetime best for her of 14.51 seconds. So as per the opening heat, the first will automatically qualify. The next 4 across The 4 heats will advance to the semi-finals. At the moment, Moko from Angola in the opening heat, 13:03, the time to beat for those who don't win this. So the last minute preparations being made. Thumbs and fingers being placed behind the line. And we'll be ready to set. The arm has gone up though from the guide of Simplicio de Silva. He's not happy with something. That's completely fine. It is the want of the guide. If he's not happy with everything and how it is, or his athlete he's working with says he's not happy, then the hand goes up. Just explaining now what the issue is, so we'll hope to have that solved. The green card comes out. Best to have it fixed early than worry about it too late. As they set for the second time. Nice bit of experience shown there by Felipe Veloso de Silva, the guide of Simplicio de Silva.
It does take a bit of confidence, doesn't it, to be able to say, no, we're not happy, have a reset. And it obviously has to have some justification. The referee will come and just find out, because it will interfere with the preparation of the other athletes as well, who have to go through their whole process over again.
They're away with no problems at all, so it is Simplicio de Silva who gets away the quickest, but looking really strong is Perez Lopez of Venezuela. It's only the first that will go through. It's Simplicio de Silva who gets it. Slight headwind into her face, 12.38 the time given for that one. She has a lifetime best of 12.12, so a little bit off that, but finished rather strongly. It looked like the Venezuelan Perez Lopez, who finished 4th over that 400 metres, may well get it, but is the lady who took the silver medal in that 400. She's also the silver medalist in the Pan American Games, who moves through to the final. Hugs and fist bumps all around. But it's the Brazilian who goes through, just giving a hug to Ferravavi at her first major championship. She enjoyed it. And 12:38 the time ratified for Simplicio de Silva, who goes through to the final.
Like you said, I mean, that was a strong middle section for Perez Lopez. It looked from the start of those Simplicio de Silva had it all wrapped up, and then here, this is where Perez Lopez comes through so strong, but just at the finish, it's Simplicio de Silva, guided by Veloso de Silva, and they just timed it perfectly. But I think we could well be seeing Perez Lopez into the final. I mean, just 0.04 of a second separating the two, and it'll be surprising if she doesn't make it as one of the 4th fastest times.
Well, she's got the 2nd fastest time, despite finishing 2nd there, because it was quicker than the first one, so she will go through. So Simplicio de Silva in 1st place. Perez Lopez will also qualify through to the semi-finals. A lifetime best for Ferravavi as well from Madagascar, who finished in 3rd place with Pereira Semedo rounding up the field.
But women's shot put action today, F54. Field of 8. Madonna Sepulveda owns the world record. And she's in the field today. It's a seated competition, as obviously you can observe. Athletes from Nigeria, Russian Paralympic Committee, Brazil, Mexico, China, Tunisia, Uzbekistan and Chile. Mexico's Gloria Sasa Guadarrama. Was 4th in Rio. twice third at World Championships, 2017 and 19. Has a personal best of 7.58 meters. And 8:06. That's a new Paralympic record.
A huge personal best as well with that. Personal best coming into that of a 7:58, which she'd thrown this year, so she's obviously on a pretty fast trajectory up.
Well, back to the track, the women's 100 meters T11, the third heat. They keep coming thick and fast. Four more to go in this one. Pabon Mamian, who took the bronze medal in the 400 meters, will go, as well Salvatini Splodari, who was fourth in the long jump already at these championships. Paralympic Games debut for Angela Seth Pabon Mamian. She's been competing since 2016. And once again, they'll take a bit of time to get themselves prepared, get themselves all set to go. And Colombia have had a very good game so far. Pabon Mamian picked up a bronze medal for the Colombians, who sit 21st on the medal table. From the Maldives, Fathimath Ibrahim, her first major championship. And Melissa Baldera, 10th in the 400 metres. Her idol is Amara Durand, who we'll see running in the evening session, the great Cuban. And Lorena Salvatini Splodore, who was bronze in this at the World Championships in 2019. This is the category where you need silence at the beginning for the athletes to get themselves sorted out and in position. The hearing sensors need to be tuned in, with this being the complete visual impairment category. And they're almost ready to go. So Pabon Mamian will go in 1, Ibrahim in 3, Baldera in 5, Salvatini Splodari in lane 7. And it is the inside lane, Pabon Mamian, who gets away quickest of all. She looked really good, but on the outside, the Brazilian is streaking through Salvatini Splodari, and she's going to take the victory in a time of 12.48 seconds. So she'll move through to the quarterfinals, and did it with relative ease indeed after a sluggish enough start. But once she got herself into a rhythm, she blasted past the inside lane of Pabon Mamian, who was bronze over that 400, perhaps her speed over the 100 a little bit slower. But 12:02, the lifetime best for the lady in shot there. Lorena Salvatini Splodari, 25 years of age.
Well, like you said, it was an incredible start from Angie Pabon Mamian. But then once Salvatini Splodari got into her rhythm, she really looked another class. The Colombian will be waiting to see if that time is good enough to get through. Salvatini Splodari won't be worrying about that, though. She'll know she can rest up and start to prepare herself mentally and physically for the semi-finals. Season's best was a 12:61, so the quickest time she's run this year. And she'll be hoping to get closer to that personal best as she moves through the rounds.
Well, there is the winner. She took a year off in 2018 to 2019 in April because she ruptured her biceps. No issues now, though. She's through to the semi-finals with a time of 12:48. Salvatini Splodore of Brazil and Pabomamian is also through with 12:97. The Colombian as one of the lucky losers.
Men's discus throw, F46. It's been underway for quite a while now. And here is your field. Well, your record holders at least. Juric, world record holder, is in the field. Musayev of Azerbaijan. Tanzania represented by Mtweve. So a nice international look. The men's discus. And Nebojša Đurić of Serbia. That's a pretty good heave. Đurić, world record holder in the F55 class of 39.84 from Uzice in Serbia. He was 7th in Rio. And has had a win at European Championship level, 2018. 39.14. It's not far short of his personal best of 39.84.
Đurić, one of 3 of the athletes in this F56 final who is an F55 athlete.
Batista dos Santos of Brazil. Oh, that's out there. Could have a new Paralympic record. It's in that area. Here's the world record holder, but his 46.68 world record is more than a metre in advance of his Paralympic record set in Rio. And 45.59, yes, he's done it. A new Paralympic record.
The final heat in the women's 100 metres T11 complete visual impairment category. We'll see the world champion and the world record holder, Jerusa Geber dos Santos, will go in this one. There she is, in lane 3. Takada Chiake, who was 5th in the long jump. Her husband, Takada Yuji, has also competed in para-athletics. He won 4x400 World Deaf Championship bronze in 2012. And the Paralympic Games debut for the lady from Cameroon, Judith Maria Lebogue, who's represented Cameroon in goalball as well. So again, the fastest to go through in the end of this will have the 4 fastest qualifiers who also go through as the lucky losers. That lady there in the 2019 Pan American Games won the 100 and 200 golds. Only made it to the semi-final stage in Rio, though. And they get away with no difficulties at all. And looked pretty good on the outside was the Cameroonian Lebogue, but it is the Brazilian and world champion who is streaking through to take the victory in a time of 12.41 seconds into probably the strongest headwind we've seen during these championships so far, negative 1.1. So that's the most they've had to deal with. 12.41 the time for the Brazilian, and Cameroon's Lebogue has gone through 12.82 for her, a lifetime best in second position, and Takada Tiaki, a season best for her, finishing in third. But there's the winner, Uzbekistan dos Santos of Brazil, and she's got a pretty good motto as well. You have to learn how to be gracious in both victory and defeat, and that pretty much sums up the Paralympics.
It certainly does, and it's very easy to say when you're winning like she is, looking very controlled through the heats. She'll be hoping she can keep that momentum going as she heads comfortably into the semi-finals. A strong run there for Judith Lebogue to take that second place, and we'll get confirmation in a moment, but I feel it will be fast enough to qualify as one of the fourth next fastest.
Well, 39 years of age, showing no signs of slowing up. The lady who was born in Rio Branco in Brazil. Uzbekistan dos Santos goes through, and Lebogue does qualify with a lifetime best of 12.82. So what does that mean? Well, Simplicio da Silva goes through fastest of all with her fellow Brazilian just behind her. So we'll have three from Brazil that will go in the semi-finals of the women's 100 metres T11 complete visual impairment.
Men's javelin action, F46. It's been underway for a little while now. Devendra of India, a world record 63.97. That is also Paralympic record mark. It's gold in Rio and Athens, that man. So India well represented here, as is Japan. Buenaventura of Mexico. And Herath of Sri Lanka. Gurjar, first attempt for him.
Please welcome the medalists.
And a pretty decent opening effort. Did wrestling and athletics prior to his accident, and it's turned into a very good thrower. Herath of Sri Lanka, 35-year-old, won the Asian Para Games and was third in Rio. So the javelin's flying pretty well in these opening attempts under the sunny skies of Tokyo. Well past 60 metres there. Love this little car that brings the javelin back from the outfield. 62.58, and that's a career best. Now, Devendra, world record holder. Just checks the footwork, it's okay, and just nudges it past 60 metres. He's also world champion in 2013, apart from his 2 Paralympic victories. And out of Jaipur. So is Gurjar, actually, both from the same city. And a 60.28 for Devendra. Almost certain to improve on that. Verona Gonzalez. Personal best of 59.95. Oh, he's just smashed his PB easily. That's what happens here in Tokyo, in this arena. They just can't help themselves. They throw longer, they jump further, they run faster. And it just kept going and going, and well, 59.95 previously. And 60.96. He's thrown another metre.
Well, it's always lovely to get over a big marker such as 60 metres. You can say, well, I throw over 60, and it's athletes will have those psychological barriers, and they're very rewarding when you break them.
Gurjar opened up with a 62.26, which is a very good throw for him. A season best, but not quite so far with that one. It's very still in the stadium. Gurjar, 60.20. Buenaventura had a 55.16.
On track is the women's 100 meters T11.
Sixth in Rio, fifth at the 2019 World Championships.
There are 4 heats coming up, only the winner in each heat, and 4 time qualifiers for each tonight's semi-finals.
61.63 is his best.
2 athletes in this one. First of all, Juliana Boko, Paralympic debut for Angola.
Not far short of that. It's amazing how many javelin throwers just idolise the great Czech Jan Železný. You look down through their profiles, who's an influence, who's motivated you to start, who's an idol. It's Železný, 4 times out of 5. Multiple Olympic gold medalist.
Oh, there's so much around technique when it comes to throwing. They could do well from watching and studying such a champion.
The opening track final of the morning session, the men's 100 meters T33, the victory ceremony. And it will be British gold in this one. Andrew Small picking up the win. And he saw off a 3-time world champion and the former Paralympic champion, Ahmed Almateri. Quite some start it was in this one as well. That's where the win was.
Medals will be presented.
We talk about finishing, but sometimes you can win the race and lose it at the start.
Japan Sports Agency. Accompanied by
The dignitary is being introduced to the crowd.
Mayor of Chuo City.
Those lucky enough to be watching on here who have accreditation in the stadium.
Bronze medalist representing Great Britain. Harry Jenkins.
Harry Jenkins picking up the bronze medal for Great Britain. He took bronze in 2019 at the World Championships as well. He's the European champion from 2018. Bronze earlier this year in Poland. This his Paralympic Games debut, and he's picked up a bronze medal at his first ever Games.
Silver medalist representing Kuwait. Ahmed Al-Muteri.
Ahmed Almateri, who was the Paralympic champion, the 27-year-old. Didn't get off to the greatest of starts. And this time he'll have to settle for silver. He's still the 3-time world champion. He'll have another chance to defend that title in Kobe next year, also in Japan. as Almateri accepts the wonderful looking medal with those indentations in the braille and the flowers with the mascot. Silver in the men's 100 metres T33 coordination impairment wheelchair category. And Andrew Small, who took the sport up after being inspired by the 2012 Paralympics, I should say, in London. He played wheelchair basketball before someone advised him to switch to wheelchair racing. He did the trick. He takes the gold medal over 100 metres. Hannah Cockcroft and David Ware, his idols, and he can now join them as a Paralympic champion and inspire others as they did he. Time now for the national anthem of Great Britain. So 28-year-old Andrew Small picks up a gold medal to go with that bronze he took back in Rio in 2016. Harry Jenkins makes it a British 1 and 3. And it is Kuwait through Almateri who picks up the silver medal. Took it up in 2013 after watching everyone go around in 2012. His senior international debut was in Grosseto at the Europeans in 2016. The man from the Stockport Harriers Club has a gold.
More action from the javelin and Hirath of Sri Lanka. Looks the part. It's out well past 60 metres. We adjust the footwear. There's a lot of power goes through the feet as they plant and deliver, and the right shoulder to work in his case. Looks like 62 and change. 62.19. Now, Devendra. I wonder if we're going to see something special out of our world record holder today. Not with that one. He certainly pulls up well short of the line. Be careful not to, with all that forward momentum, that you are able to keep it legal. Probably gave up a metre with the throw.
It does look a slightly less convincing run-up than we've seen from some of the athletes, but it's obviously what works for him. But he doesn't come out and perform at these major championships that often, so he might take a few throws maybe to find his rhythm again on this Paralympic stage.
Talk about a very disrupted year with limited competition for lots of athletes.
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony for the men's 100 metres T34.
Men's 100 metres T34 victory ceremony.
Please welcome the medalists.
And no surprises in this one. It was won by Tunisia's Wale Katila in the red jacket in the middle there. He was the two-time defending Paralympic champion. We can make that 3 now. He's the 4-time world champion over 100 meters as well.
The medals will be presented by
メダルの贈呈は室伏浩二
Commissioner of the Japan
So the
Sports
dignitaries being
Entertainment.
introduced to the crowd, of those lucky enough to be in attendance to watch on here.
Accompanied by
続きまして井上明宏
Vice President of Japan Intellectual Disability Athletics Federations.
日本知的障害者陸上競技連盟副会長
Bronze medalist representing United Arab Emirates.
銅メダリストアラブ首長
Mohammed Al-Hamadi, who
Mohammed Al-Hamadi.
just missed out on the medals in Rio, coming 4th in 2016 from the United Arab Emirates, has this time gone one better. A season best time of 15.66 seconds saw the 36-year-old through to the bronze. He takes the medal. He takes his mascot and flowers as well, and takes the pictures.
Silver medalist representing Australia.
銀メダリストオーストラリア
Reid McCracken of Australia picks up the silver medal as he did in 2016. A season best time for him of 15:37. He has a lifetime best of 14:79. He couldn't get up to that mark, but he did pick up a silver medal again as he did 5 years ago. Also has 3 World Championship silvers to his name. And he'll be happy with his performance in this one.
Gold medalist.
But it's the 36-year-old from
representing
Tunisia who took up para-athletics in 2003,
Walid Katila.
who claims another gold medal. This a 3rd successive Paralympic gold in the men's 100 meters T34 category. He's used to the gold medal around his neck, and he may well be back in 3 years' time when we head to Paris 2024. His flower arrangement and the mascot So Mighty, which is a wonderful keepsake for those athletes. It was created by the Japanese artist Ryo Taniguchi. They were selected from a competition process that took place in 2017 and 2018, and we'll now pause for the Tunisian national anthem. That the second Tunisian gold medal after Raoul Talili in the shot put earlier in these championships. Tunisian gold, Australian silver, and United Arab Emirates with the bronze and the men's 100 meters T34 wheelchair category. So the pictures are taken, the masks head back on, and we head back to the field.
The javelin throw, F46. And some big throws are starting to come. Here's Harath again from Sri Lanka. Oh, it's about after 67 or so meters. That's massive. He knows it.
That is absolutely huge. He came in with a personal best of a 61.84 and superseded that by almost a metre in the first attempt, and now has just gone big.
Yeah, he beat it with his first two throws. 62.19 his second, but this is something else again. It really flew down the stadium. And it's at least 65 or 6. No, 67, 79. That is some kind of new world record that did belong to Devendra. It was 63.97. So he's added nearly 4 meters to it.
That is absolutely incredible.
Well, Devendra needs to respond. And here he is. Paralympic champion from Rio, ordering it to go further. And that might have beaten his old world record as well. Not as long as Harath. So out towards 65 meters. So 64.35. So he has beaten his old mark of 63.97, but he's still chasing Harath.
Well, that can happen, can't it, in a year like this when these athletes, well, a couple of years have maybe not competed as much on the international circuit, but training has obviously been going very well for Harath.
Verona Gonzalez of Cuba opened up with a 60.96.
Got a great start on the inside with the outside side of the team is
well, just checks everything's in order, gives a good bellow even before he throws and sets off. He's well motivated. Verona Gonzalez, Cuba. Out towards 64 meters. Maybe just shy of that. Personal best of 59.95 coming in. He beat that with his first attempt with a 60.96.
Sri Lanka 1, India 2, India 3, and the Cuban has just moved in to third place, 63.13, and that is an area record.
It was good. He's one passionate thrower, and there's a few of them out there. And 63.30. Into third position for the moment. Another career best.
The final track event will be coming up shortly in the 1500 meters, but the 400 meters T38 is up next. Two heats taking place in the opener. We have Dion Bass, the reigning Paralympic champion from South Africa, who will go up against Hugo Velasquez of Colombia, who's the world champion. Ask and you shall see. Dixon de Jesus, Hugo Velasquez, Pan American gold as well in 2019. He won gold in 2015 at the Worlds, silver in 2017, and gold again in 2019. Mohamed Farah Chida of Tunisia, who was the gold medalist at the 2008 and 2012 Paralympic Games. Also the gold medalist in 2011 at the Worlds. Sean Burrows, bronze in 2015 in Doha, silver at the recent European Championships. And Dion Bass, he's gone in the 100 meters already when he finished 10th reigning Paralympic champion and also the 2017 world champion. So we were due to have 5 in this. Calvasante Pinedo doesn't start. So 3 to go 4, Peru out of 4. Well, they held them for a very long time there. There was an issue of some sorts, but in the end, the starter had them reposition themselves, and there's a conversation going on amongst them. Cheetahs thinking that took a while as well. It seemed like they were there for an eternity before they were told to stand up.
So no warning, green card shown for a 40 start. We go again with Greece, Morris, Cheetah, and Hooker Velasquez.
Remembering this is the coordination impairment category. This is the least of the coordination impairment categories, but sometimes it can take a little bit of time to get set, and there could be a slight twitch or two as well from any of the athletes, so it's always keenly watched on by the officials. Well, they've been asked to stand again. You can see Hooker Velasquez is the athlete who stands at the start. So there's no right or wrong. You can stand if you so wish. You don't have to use the starting blocks. And I think the athletes are getting a little bit frustrated by this. It's taking a bit of time to get going, and there are 4 to go, and there are only 3 places guaranteed through into the final from the 2 heats. It will be the next 2 fastest to advance. So the green card's been shown again.
Japan gets his 6th and final throw away in the javelin.
Down base, plenty of experience for the Paralympic champion. Didn't have the greatest 100 metres. And we'll go at take number 3. 3rd time's normally a charm. Well, there appears to be an issue with the gum. The starter had gone to actually start the race. He's looked away to one of the other officials and pointed at his gum. So the athletes have, well, Hooker Velasquez has gone for a little jog around the track. So it's an issue with the electronics. It's not an issue with the actual athletes itself. That's the problem right there. Don't ask me what colours it's supposed to be, but it's supposed to go. And at the moment, it's not working. So a slight delay in the program. Bit of technical work being done. It's off-putting for the athletes. This must be really difficult for them.
Yeah, I mean, luckily this is a heat situation, so they're not going to be feeling as nervous as they might do in a finals. And it's the top 3 to go through. But this is really a matter of experience here that the athletes will need to show. Thankfully, that part of the track is slightly shaded, and it's just conserving energy, but also not letting yourself or your body switch off. You don't want your mind to be getting too worked up and carried away, but you still need your body to stay ready and firing. And in that sense, the heat's going to help. You know, if it was somewhere in a really cold conditions, could start to become a bit of a worry with a sprinting distance of 400 meters. But thankfully, they're not going to be getting cold out there, and they've got some shade, and they will know that it's nothing that they can control. And as an athlete, it is just about controlling your controllables.
Well, Dion Base is doing his best to do just that. Just a reminder of our field, it's Dion Base in lane 3, Sean Burrows of Great Britain in 4, Dixon de Jesus Hugo Velasquez of Colombia in 6, and Calvicente Pinheiro of Brazil is missing from this one. So just the 4 who are going in this, with the Tunisian Cheetah, who won gold in 2008 and 2012, will go right in the middle in lane 5. So we are away this time. They fixed the problem and we have the athletes away. Base goes in 3, Burrows in 4, Cheetah in 5, and Hooker Velasquez in lane 6, the world champion. And it is Burrows of Great Britain with around 150 metres gone who's taken the lead up. Dion Base looking strong on the inside though as he narrows that stagger, and they come around with 200 metres remaining. Sean Burrows of Great Britain is a silver medalist in the Euros earlier this year. He's just starting to fade somewhat at the moment as Dion Base of South Africa, the reigning Paralympic champion, looks extremely strong, does Dion Base. He's got a lifetime best of 49.46 seconds, which he set as the Paralympic record when he claimed that gold in Rio in 2016. He's going to take the victory. It's Burrows who's going to cross in 2nd place, and Cheetah in 3rd. 51.29 the time for Dion Base. Well, he looked comfortable, did the South African. He knows what to do to win on the big occasion. After he won that Paralympic gold, he then went to London the following year and won the World Championship gold as well. Took his time, worked his way into the lead in around the last 150 metres after Burrows had made all the early running.
Well, Burrows was fast out the blocks. I wonder if the delayed start had something to do with that he was just feeling absolutely pumped and maybe suffering with a bit of lactic acid in the legs towards the end. But it is just the first 3, and as you see there, Cheetah really relaxing over the line. He didn't need to push. But Boyce, comfortable within himself, even with such a huge distance, a huge margin of a win. He'll take a bit of confidence from just getting a strong run under his belt. Season's best, in fact. A lot of these athletes won't have had many racing opportunities, and the heats are a real opportunity for them to sort of get into the racing mindset again.
Well, season best for Dion Base, and Burrows through in 2nd and Cheetah in 3rd. A surprise perhaps that even though he's run a season best, Dixon de Jesus Hugo Velasquez, the world champion, is not guaranteed to go through into the final.
Men's javelin action, Verona Gonzalez. Been sitting just outside the medals for a while. New area record of 63.30 is thrown recently.
Ladies and gentlemen, victory ceremony for the men's 100 meters T33.
皆様、ただいまより男子 100m T33 の表彰式を行います。
Please welcome the medalists.
メダリストをお迎えください。
Loving the expression, the energy that goes into the run-up, but as much of the energy that goes in to willing that javelin. And the celebrations to boot.
He's quite a performer, and he's quite an athlete. Well, that 63.30 was a little while ago. 62.60 he's thrown since. Now Gurjar. couple of fouls. He's very close to the line. He's using the maximum he can, and out towards 65 metres.
Oh, best lead throwing so far, 62.26, leading into that fifth throw. I think we're expecting something a little further.
Career best of 64.11. Double world champion he is. And 64.01.
That moves him up into medal contention.
Final throw for Verona Gonzalez.
He's got a personal best of 49.46 coming away on this one. Burrows in second. Cheetah of Tunisia outside him. 51.29 the winning time.
Around 62 metres it appears to be. Have you had throwers explain to you, Heather, why the purpose of the shout?
It's a hard one to, I don't think I've ever asked, but that mindset of you're just giving it everything, and you're in that zone and you don't even notice it comes out in so many sports, and athletes won't be even aware of their doing of that. It's
that
just
explosion of energy.
Yeah, it's all coming out, leaving nothing within.
Devendra. Oh, that just came out a little flat.
Above 60 metres, and the Sri Lankan celebrations have already begun. For a lifetime best, it would have been a world record for Devendra to take the silver medal.
Now, Devendra, he comes over to Herath. These are great moments, aren't they? India and Sri Lanka. Great neighbours, great rivals. And Devendra has to tip the hat today, it would seem, to Herath.
So bronze goes to Sundar Singh Gurjar of India, silver to Devendra.
Herath in the third round, with that monstrous throw of 67.79. It's just what you do on the day, and the day looks like it belongs to Herath. It's a little over 61 metres for Devendra for his last.
Dion Base, the winner of the opening heat in the men's 400 metres T38 coordination impairment category. The reigning Paralympic champion is through to the final. (51.29) his time. Sean Burrows of Great Britain also through, as is Cheetah, the former 2008 and 2012 Paralympic champion. Heat number 2 in the men's 400 metres T38 sees the European champion Anton Feoktistov of the Russian Paralympic Committee. Chisani Garcia of Mexico will go from lane 8. His brothers Andres and Eduardo, also Mexican para-athletes. 8th in the 100 metres. Looking to get into the medals in the 400. Feoktistov, who claimed gold in Bydgoszcz in Poland back in June. He was 5th at the Worlds back in 2019. The man from the Russian Paralympic Committee. Ali Akriabi, 4th in 2019, just missing out on the medal in Dubai. And from Honduras, Carlos Velasquez, who made it through to the semi-finals of the 100 metres, his first Paralympic Games, as it is for the man from Nicaragua, Castillo, and Zachary Gingras of Canada, who claimed silver at the 2019 Pan American Games. So 6 to go in this one. First 3 will go through, and at the moment, It is the world champion, Hooker Velasquez, who was 4th in the opening heat. He'll be hoping he has a time quick enough to go through. European champion with a lifetime best of 51.70 he set this year when he won that championship in Bydgoszcz. Two athletes at their first time at the Paralympic Games, and they get away with no issues at all. Chesani Garcia in 8, Fyokstov in 7, Al-Rikabi in 6, Velasquez in 5, Castillo in 4, and Gingras in lane 3 on the inside. But working his way through well at the moment is Al-Rikabi of Iraq. He's looking very strong. Already gone up and passed Fyokstov, who's an experienced athlete, the man from the Russian Paralympic Committee. And Gingras of Canada is streaming through on the inside. This is where it starts to burn in the 400 metres. It's an extremely tough event, and it is oppressive conditions to be running it in as well. So as they come in to the final 100 metres, it's the man on the outside, Mexico's Chesani Garcia, who leads at the moment. It'll be the first 3 who go through. Gingras of Canada is looking strong, and then it's a race on between Fyokstov, who looks in 4th position, and on the inside of him it's Al-Rikabi, who takes that 3rd from Iraq. So the European champion, we'll be hoping his time's good enough to go through. Chesani Garcia of Mexico has set a new area record time of 50.84 seconds, a lifetime best for Gingras, who finishes in 2nd, 51.81 for him, and Al-Rikabi 53.27 goes through for the automatic qualifiers. But there he is, Jose Rodolfo Chesani Garcia, Mexico in 1st place in the 2nd heat of the men's 400 metres T38.
Well, it's such a tough event, and these athletes able to just back off ever so slightly at the end. But it was our winner who wasn't prepared to chance anything. Chesani Garcia almost diving for the line, which is unusual to see in the heats. But he obviously wanted to get a good time on the board and get himself in a good position, a good lane draw for the final. Powering through on that home straight.
Well, a new area record for Chesani Garcia of Mexico. Gingras and Al-Rikabi go through, and season bests for Castillo in 5th and Velasquez in 6th as well. So everything left on the line there in that 2nd heat of the men's 400 metres T38. So
Please welcome the medalists.
Men's shot put F41 victory ceremony. Another great throwing competition. Trying to work out who goes where. And Hagen Landry organising his fellow medalists. He's in silver medal position. Nico Kapel, the Rio victor, has bronze today, and it's Vorbion Omanov of Uzbekistan will receive gold.
Senior Managing Executive Officer, Panasonic.
Paralympic Games 専務執行役員
Accompanied by
続きまして木村達一
Chairman of Chuo City Council.
中央区議会議長
Bronze medalist representing Germany.
銅メダリストドイツ
Nico Kapel.
Kapel, world champion in 2017. He won Rio with 13.57. Didn't quite get it going today. His best was 13.30. But he helps himself to the bronze medal. German Para-Athlete of the Year twice. and looks well pleased with the medal and the Samaiti mascot.
Silver medalist representing United States of America.
金メダリストアメリカ合衆国
Hagan Landry.
Hagan Landry led after the first round. And he's been working towards this, he says, to reward the generosity of his grandmother, who encouraged and financed his campaign. I'm sure when that medal returns home, she'll be the first to see it. Came in with a personal best of 13.63 and produced a 13.88. So he found 25 centimetres extra today in a silver medal winning performance.
Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Uzbekistan.
金メダリストおよびパラリンピックチャンピオンウズベキスタン
Bobijan Omanov.
Bobijan Omanov only took a round or two to warm up and to take control of the event. In fact, his last throw was his best of 14.06, but short of his own world record 14.31. But he was the only man to throw over 14 metres in this F41 final. World champion in 2019, Asian Para Games champion 2018, and now Paralympic champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Uzbekistan.
皆様ウズベキスタン国歌の演奏です
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
皆様パラリンピックメダリストです
Uzbekistan now with 5 gold medals. They're in 12th position in the medal table. Omanov adding his contribution today. His 14.31 world record set this year in Dubai back in February. Didn't need to go quite to that level to get the job done. Congratulations to Landry and Capel. More action from the javelin, well, or at least acknowledgement of the new world record for Harath. Gurjar. So there. So a great day for the subcontinent with India and Sri Lanka.
In lane 8, representing Mexico, second in the 2019 World Championships.
So Harath first, Devendra second, and Gurjar third. And that world record, 67.79, almost 4 meters to the good of Devendra's previous mark. And Gurjar a 64.01.
Susanna Garcia, victorious in the second heat of the men's 400 metres T38. Lifetime best for him, and Gingras as well. Also qualifying, Rikabi of Iraq and Feoktistov, the European champion, through as one of the fastest qualifiers. So, does that mean the world champion goes through? Yes, it does. Just 55.59 down at the bottom of your screen. Dixon de Jesus Hooker Velasquez does sneak into the final.
Please welcome the medalists.
The day started off with the men's long jump T12. 10 in it. Anyone who is going to jump over 7 meters is going to be in the running.
The medals will be presented by Senior Managing Executive Officer, Panasonic.
パナソニック株式会社専務執行役員
Accompanied by
続きまして井上明弘
Vice President of Japan Intellectual Disability Athletics Federations.
日本知的障害者陸上競技連盟副会長
And Saeed Najafzadeh of Azerbaijan
銅メダリストアゼルバイジャン
was the early leader with an opening jump of 7 meters. And he would improve that with his fourth attempt to 7:03. And that was just 1 centimetre short of his career best. But a pretty proud bronze medalist today. He's the current European champion. His title's held in Poland. He won that with a 6:97.
Silver medalist representing Cuba,
銀メダリストキューバ
Lenier Savon Pineda.
Salon Pineda. In Rio, he was 8th, but was a double gold medalist. He won the 100 and 200. Came in with a personal best of 6:89. But in the 5th round, he jumped 7:01 and then 7:16. So his jumping career is heading in the right path, collecting silver today.
Gold medalist and Paralympic champion representing Islamic Republic of Iran.
金メダリ
Amir
ストおよび
Kosravani
パラリンピックチャンピオンイランイスラム共和国
Islamic Republic of Iran. Well, he
Kosravani.
opened up with a foul and then came out with a PB, 7:21 with his second attempt. And that was all he needed, really. His previous career best of 7:09. They didn't get near the world mark of 7:47. Belongs to Matthias Schroeder of Germany. Kosravani, gold in the men's long jump T12.
Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem of Islamic Republic of Iran.
皆様イランイスラム共和国国歌の演奏です
Ladies and gentlemen, the Paralympic medalists.
皆様、パラリンピックメダリストです。
That's our last victory ceremony of the first session today, but we've still got some action on the track. And Kosravani would be one happy spectator who might hang around and watch the last of the session. Perhaps he's got some phone calls to make. Well, I haven't seen much of the discus throw for the men, F46. And Diaz Aldana. One in Beijing and London. The 43.36 would be his best of the day. It was his third attempt. Yogesh Kathunia from New Delhi. His third at the 19 Worlds. 42.05. 44.38 would be his best. Just short of his career best. Batista dos Santos, world record holder, saved his best to the last. Just out past 45 metres, the only man to clear that distance, and 45.59, a Paralympic record for the Brazilian. Won Rio with 45.33 and was fourth in London. There are your medalists from Brazil, India and Cuba. Batista dos Santos, Kathunia and Diaz Aldana. Men's discus F56.
Final track event of the morning session. 2 heats in the men's 1500 metres T54. Throwaway Waharam, defending champion and world champion, will go in this one. He was 5,000 metres champion from Rio as well. Brent Lakatos, the world record holder, also going in this heat. As always, the T54 category stacked with class. The impaired and passive range of movement category, this is the strongest of the wheelchair categories. Showing out wide, Waharam, who took silver in 2008 and 2012, and gold in 2016. In lane 4, Brent Lakatos, who holds the world record, which he set in Knotville in Switzerland. That was set more than 4 years ago. It's his first time for Lakatos in the 1500. Higuchi Masayuki took bronze in 2012. And on the inside, Julian Casserly. Plenty of these athletes have already gone in the 5,000 metres and the 400. So the reigning champion Waharam in this one, as is the world record holder Brent Lakatos. Waharam setting the Paralympic record back in Beijing in 2008 when he collected victory. So they get away, and Lakatos on the inside. You can't miss Waharam in that yellow top that he's wearing. Sitting on the outside at the moment is the defending champion and the world champion as well. And Lakatos just looking very smooth indeed. Brian Seaman bringing up the tail end of the field as they head over, and they'll have 3 laps remaining. But at the moment, Waharam looking good and Lakatos just sitting on the inside. And Waharam wouldn't want to sit wide for too long because he'll be putting in too much effort.
Well, he has just stayed in that position for the whole bend, but we've just got a new leader coming around the outside, and that was around the outside of 4. Just having a little nod to each other, communicating as they go round.
Yeah, Zhang of China, who's taken on the lead there from Waharam. What they generally do in this is sometimes they'll have a little chat with each other, more often than not over the 5,000 metres distance, but they'll have a look, they'll let someone else take the running, and then they'll just slip in behind and in that slipstream and try and get themselves a little bit of a rest as they go through. Sitting nicely on the inside is Julian Castley, the vastly experienced Frenchman. So 2 laps remaining, and it is Zhang of China, who took silver back in 2019 at the World Championships, who's currently sitting there in first position. Still tailing up the back of the field is the man from America, Brian Seaman, his 3rd Paralympic Games for the man from Brooklyn. He's actually a quadruplet, has 3 sisters. That was interesting growing up, I bet. He's at the back at the moment, and he'll be working his way around. He's slightly moved up as Zhang still leads from Prawat Waharam. And this time they come round over the line, they'll be taking the bell. Lakatos sitting there in about 4th position at the moment in the slipstream of Waharam, and still on the inside it's Julian Castley of France in 3rd position as they head across to take the belt. It is Zhang of China, Waharam, the defending champion, who now makes his move slightly around the outside. He's been sitting wide for a lot of the time. The first 3 will go through in this heat, and then the next 4 fastest across this, and the second will go through to the final. So it's not a case of needing to win, it's a case of making sure you get through in that top 3, and that's what Waharam is hopeful of doing. And sometimes you might find someone who just wants to flex their muscles somewhat and get across the line and just show that they're the best at what they do, and Waharam's doing just that at the moment. Zhang in 2nd position. There'll be a real race on for the 3rd place to go through. Castley has it at the moment. Lakatos is in a bit of trouble on the outside, and he's going to miss out on that top 3. It's Waharam who's going to cross, Zhang of China and Castley of France, who takes 3rd position. 3:03.07 is that time for Waharam, who owns the Paralympic record. He was about 3 seconds or so off that. A season best for Zhang Yong of China, who goes through in 2nd. And Julian Castley of France looked like he picked up 3rd position. So qualification for Prawat Waharam, the defending champion and world champion as well. Castley has been given 3rd position, 3:03.48. So the world record holder, Brent Lakatos, has missed out on automatic qualification and hasn't even finished in the top 4. I think he came in 5th position there, did Lakatos. Higuchi of Japan in front of him. But Waharam looked really strong across the line there. The Thai athlete who's very strong across all the different disciplines in the T54 category. Lakatos being given 5th position, so he's going to have to wait, and a nervy wait indeed. Not for that man. Prawat Waharam, he was 6th in the 5,000 metres when he was looking good to be up in the medals, but was swamped towards the end. Silver in 2008 in this, silver in 2012, bronze in 2016, and he's also a gold medalist from 2019. Vastly experienced, very strong, and looking likely to be one of the favourites for the gold medal. Wonderful race from Zhang. Silver back in 2019, so he knows what it takes to get a medal at a major event. But Prawat looked really strong in that one. So 1 heat still to go. Already through Waharam, Zhang and Castley, guaranteed through to the final. Second heat of the men's 1500 metres T54. We saw a bit of a shock of kinds in the opening one, with Brent Lakatos missing out on automatic qualification, the world record holder. In this one, we've got Marcel Hug, who's already won gold here over 5,000 metres. He'll be looking to add another medal of sorts, hopefully gold for his sake in this one as well, over 1,500. Konkrak representing Thailand in this one. He took bronze the 5,000 metres, did the Thai gold from the 400 metres. Daniel Romanchuk's here as well. On the left there of David Weir. And Marcel Hug, we mentioned he's already won a gold. Yeah, we're looking for another. Bronze back in 2016 for Hug in this one. And Suzuki Tomoki of Japan will lead the home charge. He was 7th in 2017 in London, his best. Well, David Weir, he was perhaps disappointed with his performance in the 5,000 metres. He won gold in this in 2008 and 2012. And Hug, as always, gets away very fast. He always looks to work his way up to the front. He's not going to get it on this occasion, though, because Suzuki Tomoki has just outpaced him from the beginning there. So Hug sitting in 2nd position, and David Weir is up in 3rd position in the number 4 helmet. You can't miss Marcel Hug, the Swiss silver bullet, given that due to the fact he wears that shiny silver helmet. So when they come across the line, they'll have 3 laps to go, and Hug nicely positioned.
Well, like you said, that he wasn't straight out to the front, but such a draft factor in wheelchair racing. Aerodynamics playing a really significant part, and a race over this distance of 1,500 metres is very much about pacing and making sure you've got enough left in the tank if there are some late surges in the final 200 metres. And to be the first 3 over the line, it's a different tactic to a final. So we'll see those experienced just positioning themselves perfectly, staying out of trouble and not wanting to have too many athletes make a move and come around the outside, because then you've got to get yourself out. But you can see Hug just sitting slightly to the outside, so if he needed to make a move, he could. He's not going to get boxed in that position, but he's still going to get a real drafting advantage.
Well, Marcel Hug, he broke his duck at the Paralympic Games. He'd been around for a while, had Marcel Hug. He hadn't managed to pick up a gold at the Games. He finally got his hands on one in 2016. He got the 800 and marathon gold medals. He'd been competing at the Paralympics since back in 2004, but despite victories at World Championships, he'd failed to pick up a gold at the Paralympics. He broke that. He's already taken the 5,000 metres here at this event, and he'll be a strong candidate in the marathon on the final day as well. At the moment, he sits in 2nd position. There's been no change thus far since the very beginning. And he's the Chinese athlete who leads as they take the bell in Zhang Yong of China. And it is Marcel Hug who's sitting in there nicely as well in 2nd position. And David Weir is still there or thereabouts, the man who won gold in 2008 and 2012. It will be the first 3 who go through. There's Marcel Hug in that wheelchair that he's helped design as well, so he'll be more than happy with the fact that it helped him pick up that 5,000 metres gold medal earlier in these championships, and he's streaking out in front and leaving the rest of them to fight for 2nd and 3rd position. Prabhat Waharam owns the Paralympic record, who went in the previous heat, and Brent Lakatos the world record, and Marcel Hug goes across and takes the victory, so he goes through first, and a new Paralympic record time of 2:54.63. So Marcel Hug, sometimes he looks like he's not even trying, and he still manages to come up with performances like that. He just knows how to work the field, he knows how to use the tactics, and he did exactly that. Jian Ying of China picks up 2nd position and a lifetime best for him. Romanchuk finishes in 3rd, and David Weir in 4th position, although David Weir's time, I think, will be fast enough to go through the opening heat Julian Castley third in that. He came in at 3:03.48. So Weir and Konkrak will be the ones who go through for sure. And Sibri and Suzuki of Japan, who came up with a season best, should also manage to go through. So the big shock may be here that the world record holder, Brent Lakatos, won't go through to the final. But Marcel Hug looked really strong.
Class act there, and just cruising over the line to take that Paralympic record, which has stood since 2008, and he's absolutely smashed it by 6 seconds. So, I mean, incredible that it's managed to stay that long, but that just really does show the class that Marcel Hug is. Those aerodynamic gains he's got from that carbon fibre design on his wheelchair, obviously helping his performance here in Tokyo.
Well, he always looks the part, doesn't he, Marcel Hug? Paralympic record holder now in the men's 1500 metres T54. He goes through to the final. Zhang Ying, he raced a very good race. Stayed with Marcel Hug for the majority of the way. Lifetime best for the Chinaman. And Daniel Romanchuk, 5 races in 2016, failed to get out of the first round in any of them. He's come up with a gold medal already here at these championships, over 400. He's picked up a medal as well in the 5,000, and he's through to the final of the 1500 metres. So Marcel Hug wins it in a Paralympic record time. Zhang and Romanchuk in second and third place go through for sure. Then it's a case of waiting to see who goes through. It is Weir, Konkrak, Sibri and Suzuki. So it means that the world record holder, Brent Lakatos, will not be in the final. Somewhat of a shock, but such is the ability of this field. Lakatos misses out.
Getting close to the end of the session. But, some real entertainment in the field events as well. A little bit of a breeze around, but it's another sweltering day in Tokyo. Hot and humid. Appropriately sizzling performances at the National Stadium. Women's shot put F54. Madonna Sepulveda was the record holder at 8:19. Well, she beat that today in a very interesting competition. Nurkan Kurbanova of Uzbekistan, 5th at the 2019 World Championships. Had a personal best of 7:12. And she smashed that with a 7:77. And she would end up in third position. Zaza Guadarrama of Mexico was the early leader, the 37-year-old who was 4th in Rio. Her 4th round attempt of 8:06 was also a massive improvement on her personal best, which had been 7:58. So she's found almost half a metre. And overjoyed with what would prove to be a silver medal throw. But Francesca Madonna Sepulveda was under some pressure. She went up last, had a bit to do, and she did something pretty good. 8:33. A new world record. The previous best was 8:19, the world record. So she's added 14 centimetres to it and claimed the gold. So Uzbekistan, Mexico and Chile, the medalists. And Sepulveda, that is one mighty throw. The men's shot put F41 was also on the program today. Borbjan Omanov would prove triumphant with a 14.06. The Rio Paralympic champion, Nico Capel of Germany, gave us a good competition. Opened up with a 12.95. His best throw would come in the 4th round. He nearly stepped out of the circle in doing it, but it was a 13.30. So in the intervening years between Rio and now, a couple of other competitors have really lifted their performances, including this man, Hagen Landry of the United States, from San Diego. Student of human movement. And he would throw a 13.88. Previous personal best of 13.63. Again, a huge PB. And the emotion of the effort and the journey, a little bit too much for him, but it's tears of joy for Landry. Borbjan Omanov, a confident, happy competitor, the world record holder from Uzbekistan, 14.31 his world mark. Saved his best to the 6th attempt, and it was out past 14 metres. 14.06, a new Paralympic record for Omanov. Leaves intact his existing world mark, but claims the gold. Uzbekistan starting to put together some memorable performances and gathering the gold along the way. So Uzbekistan, USA and Germany, 1, 2, 3 in the F41 shot put. Men's long jump started off the session. Field of 10. Very international look to the field as well. But a couple from Azerbaijan and Sweden. Said Najafzadeh of Azerbaijan was briefly the leader. He started with a jump of 7 meters. And found a couple of extra there with a leap of 7.03. Lenia Savon Pineda was looking all competition for something over 7 meters. He did 7.01 in the 5th attempt and a bit more with his last. 2 big personal bests in his 5th and 6th attempt and 7.16. Wrapping up the silver medal. Amir Kosravani, Islamic Republic of Iran. Fouled with his first attempt. Career best of 7.09. And he would better that by some margin in this second round jump of 7.21. And that would stand the test of the rest of the competition and leave him with the gold medal. Amir Kosravani, the new Paralympic champion in the T12 long jump. Men's javelin also featured today. It's incredible competition for nations of the subcontinent, Sri Lanka and India, featuring in this one with a new world record thrown by Harath. Let's look first of all at Gurjar. And the Indian thrower with his 5th attempt. He knew it was good. A season best of 64.01 for Gurjar. Just 10 centimetres short of his career best. Devendra, world record holder at 63.97. And after a steady start, he would eventually beat his own world record with a throw of 64.35. Devendra's problem today, though, was this man, Herath Mudianselagi. Has this for a 3rd attempt. 67.79. He's beaten the old world record by almost 4 meters. And a personal best for him by some 6 meters. Well, the usual irresistible mix of great performances, records being shattered, and wonderful camaraderie and sporting spirit being displayed at the National Stadium. And we're not even halfway through the program for the track and field. So much more to enjoy, and we look forward to you joining us again soon here in Tokyo 2020 Paralympics.